Outside world. Genos, is this here? Zheng Liang's big bald head stopped and looked puzzled. As a barren mountain, I don't know if these people have brains and built their base here. However, the honeycomb-shaped square building in front of me is quite good. Compared with his own nest, it is still a lot bigger. Genos nodded seriously. Yes, teacher. This is the home of evolution. Oh, so how do we? Saitama touched his bald head. The four walls are so solid that there is not even a single door. Sudden. Genos, who was beside him, bowed slightly, and his chest reflected the immediate mobilization of energy. His hands exposed jet-black jets. The blue energy exploded immediately. Boom. The mecha energy strengthened by Mu Bai immediately slammed into the building in front of him. In an instant, the surroundings vibrated endlessly, and the energy collision was generated in an instant. If it is the previous armor energy, destroying these walls, I am afraid it will take a lot of effort. However, now, take your hands back. Go in. Saitama's voice fell. However, in just 1 second, the building in front of him was razed to the ground. Okay, Saitama was helpless, but it's been burned, so. He suddenly saw a distant, undamaged underpass door. Genos, there are traces of being opened, it should be here. Saitama greeted immediately. He reached out and grabbed the handle of the underpass door. Crunch. Slightly exerting force on the iron door panel, it has been pulled out of shape. Teacher, it seems that Senior has already entered. Genos felt. Lightly clicking on the right side of his forehead, countless scanners appeared in his eyes, penetrating the floor here, and a huge passage below. And obviously there are special energy fluctuations on the inside. Teacher, let's go in quickly, the Senior seems to be starting to fight, he hurriedly said. Okay. Imaginary Mu Bai. Saitama immediately had a smile on his face. The two immediately rushed into the dark passage. Genos suddenly thought. But then, teacher, can't you fly? Nonsense, of course humans can't fly. Saitama replied immediately, but he immediately mumbled. Why does Mu Bai fly, and it's so fast that neither of us can catch up? Maybe, because seniors can magic. Genos didn't know how to answer. However, the place where the energy fluctuations occurred in the field of vision was getting closer and closer, and a corner appeared in front of the dark passage. Saitama just turned to the left. Teacher, on the right. Genos suddenly corrected. But there is no way. Saitama was slightly taken aback. Don't you just turn right and hit the wall? But I saw that the conclusion was a rampage. Click. The wall of the arrow stone shattered immediately, and Genos' mechanical body had already rushed into the distance. Okay. Saitama just compromised. But then again, is it good for you to accept this apprentice? Forget it. I can't think about it anymore. Look back to the monitoring room. It's that bald head. The old doctor saw Saitama at a glance. Wearing a yellow hero suit, a big cape, and a bald head is best recognizable. And next to him was that mechanical warrior, however, his eyes were fixed immediately. The armor looks so complicated. Wei Wei crawled into the monitor in front of him, and he reached out and pushed his glasses. The scene of surveillance in front of me just intercepted the figure of Genos. The complex mechanical patterns seem to be difficult to integrate at all, but there are very subtle combinations, thick breastplates and energy transfer. It is too difficult to achieve. The doctor muttered to himself. Even reach out and touch the screen, as if to understand the principles of mechanical fusion. The young clones behind them, the doctors also stretched out their heads one by one. Although they are all clones of the old doctor in front of them, their knowledge is limited, and each clone has its own specialized field of knowledge. As the most researched topic is the evolutionary home. Most of the questions about evolution are some biological topics. And the mechanical body mastered by the old doctor is rarely mastered. Including the purification of King Kong gorilla, a lot of machinery was used. And all the young clones rarely hear such a compliment from the doctor. However, not all clones have come together. After all, the base still needs normal energy maintenance, including a series of mobilizations. Even, the two scariest guys are still fighting in the fighting room. Turn on monitoring. Bang bang bang, immediately came the sound of the meat bun being beaten. The young doctor can't bear to look directly. And at the same time, in the fighting room, I saw that the smooth walls and the complete ground at the beginning had already become potholes, and the ceiling was cracked everywhere. It cracked, countless fragments fell, and the smoke billowed. The ground and surrounding walls have long been destroyed. Even the hard iron gate was hit with countless signs of impact, and only the Asura unicorn could be seen on the monitor, constantly being knocked off by Mu Bai, again and again. But the young man seemed to keep his hands on purpose, and did not deal with the Asura unicorn with one blow. Right. Because of Mu Bai, I enjoyed the thrill of battle very much at this time. The power of the god of destruction in the body also seemed to penetrate deep into the bone marrow, and the violent venting reached its peak. And this time, its full strength. However, if you deliberately stay behind, you don't need to kill the Asura unicorn in front of you. Snapped, a punch hit the shoulder armor of the Asura unicorn. The crisp voice sounded, and the half-body of the Asura unicorn was instantly blown to pieces. Half of his face disappeared, revealing the white bones inside, and he could even see the wriggling brain behind. Under the force of this punch, the Asura unicorn flew upside down. Mu Bai stopped. After this series of battles, the Asura unicorn also needs to repair its defects. I saw countless granulation begin to wrap, and the growth started again. But compared to the initial growth rate, it has dropped by more than one level. Mu Bai is very clear that even a regenerating Asura unicorn requires some substances to grow physically. After some battle, the shirt on his body was slightly wrinkled. Mu Bai didn't care. On the contrary, because of this hardy battle, he felt at ease. This is the first time that all firepower is used, using the power of the god of destruction. However, Mu Bai didn't notice. The Asura unicorn that has grown this time has a look in its eyes. What kind of look is that? Fear. The ultimate fear. Despair. Desperate to the point of despair. Even if he had lost his mind just now and was passively beaten again and again, his basic fighting consciousness was still there. And after losing his mind, he showed his full fighting power. Ignoring the pain, ignoring any skills, the confrontation between the pure speed power system. The results of it? Being tortured by blood, non-stop blood torture. Damn, I don't even know it anymore. And now, back to sanity. All the bits and pieces just now surfaced, and my heart was like a memory. Asura unicorn. Scared, compared to the horror of that kind of creature directly, he knew that he was afraid of being beaten. And now, sanity has returned. The pain is unbearable. Without hesitation, he clenched his fist tightly and punched the wall in front of him. A punch with full force. Click, the wall shattered directly. A huge exit appeared in front of him, and behind the exit is a long passage. In the next second, the Asura unicorn would kill a duck, as if there were some evil spirit behind him. No matter how arrogant he is, he will lose the bottom line of human morality. But as a creature, he is still afraid of death in his bones. Unfortunately, the human beings in front of him can definitely put it to death, and even abuse it to the fullest. The scene just now was like a movie, and at this time a deep fear was left in his mind. The fear in the bones is like the crushing between the souls. Too painful. And opposite. Mu Bai was slightly startled. Why does this guy always like to do this kind of thing? Running away is not a good idea. But, glancing at the time, today's battle is over. And the rest is up to Saitama and Genos. There are more important things now. Mu Bai stretched out his hand. Wow, the suit that has been floating in the air comes to the hand. Looking at the folds on his body, Mu Bai couldn't help but smile bitterly. The hero has to exert the strongest fighting power at any time. It seems that wearing a suit is really not a good thing. Gently patted. Chaos magic modifies the wrinkled shirts on reality and immediately restores factory settings. Wear a suit on your body. Mu Bai also walked outside. Snapped. He slapped the heavy iron gate with a slap, and after identifying the direction, Mu Bai walked to the right. Still under monitoring, Gudong. Seeing that Mu Bai could talk about the thick iron gate with his bare hands, he slapped it to pieces. All the clone doctors secretly swallowed their saliva. You must know that this iron gate cannot be broken even by the Asura unicorn in its heyday. But with a slap in Mu Bai's hand, it smashed. How much power is this? Have we misvalued his strength? Only then did someone tremble, and it seems that we ignored his combat power from the beginning. That scarlet ability like a ghost, plus his physique that completely crushed the Asura unicorn. I'm wondering if he's human. It should be a weirdo in human skin. A group of clone doctors are chatting. Mu Bai has arrived, beside the doctor he controlled. Lead the way. Mu Bai's voice was indifferent. But in the ears of the manipulated doctor, it seemed like the voice of the heavens was like the command of God. The doctor immediately opened the door and went deeper. Mu Bai was also at ease and followed behind. There are large and small jars all over the place. It can be seen that there are some failed test items sealed inside. A dwarf monster with a human head and a lizard body, spitting out bubbling gills in the water, and the parts of Bonko are like fish scales. It looks disgusting. Other jars also had heads of large and small people in them. Together, densely packed. Although I knew that the evolution house was to study the evolution of organisms, I didn't expect the research to be so perverted. Mu Bai is also an eyesore, but that's what this area is. Jars large and small literally filled the surrounding open space. After 2 steps, Mu Bai finally followed the manipulated doctor to the secret laboratory. Look at the names above. Mu Bai smiled. There are really secrets written on it. However, the huge evolutionary family is all their own people, and it is excusable to want to come, but it is a place to distinguish. But once invaded, in the eyes of outsiders, these are not exactly the same as stealing the bell. Mu Bai was also welcome and pushed the door in. There are countless cables scattered in front of them, connecting several huge machines in front of them. The front of the machine is the real version of the data projection. Mu Bai came to the place where the data was serialized. And the doctor controlled by Mu Bai is already very familiar with opening the machine in front of him. Snapped, projection appears, similar to a supercomputer-like computing program. Mu Bai is not very familiar with it. However, it can be seen that the manipulated doctor opened the security code very easily. Only a mechanical sound is heard, verification passed. Next moment, the manipulated doctor took out a hard drive next to it. Insert the machine 3 or 2 times and enter the security code. The machine in front of him immediately began to calculate, and the knowledge about the mechanical system among the countless machines also began to be reproduced on the U-disk. 1%, 2%, 3%, the speed is not slow. Mu Bai also walked towards Joe with interest. A pile of mechanical parts sits behind a huge display cabinet. And a formed mechanical body structure. Precise mechanical structure and connections between components, as well as very tiny chips on board. However, it is obviously not carried in terms of energy. Otherwise, the machinery in front of you will definitely work. And just as Mu Bai was observing the mechanical body, a door behind him opened. The old doctor came slowly on crutches. Like an old friend, he came to Mu Bai's side, also looked at the mechanical body behind the cabinet in front of him, and said aloud, "My research direction was always limited to the human body's self-planning. But for a long time, I found that human evolution seems to have a shackle, and I tried to break it with mechanical evolutionary means. It did get some results, but that's about it. And this is the final direction of my research. I haven't fully integrated with the weirdo. The King Kong Black Star has already been solved by you." The old doctor seemed to say something trivial, but he was full of sadness. There are some differences, however, inferring the direction is generally successful. Mu Bai said lightly. For the old doctor of the evolution house, Mu Bai has some knowledge. Although ambitious, on the road of evolution, human beings are indeed the priority, but the wrong path is taken. Before he finished speaking, Mu Bai waved his hand. A few strands of scarlet color appeared, wrapping the mechanical body inside the cabinet. Wow! The mechanical body directly broke the cabinet and flew out. Floated in the air. The amplitude mechanical body is similar to the previous one of Geno's. But the key position is missing. Energy. The core energy source of Geno's was researched by Dr. Kusno, which is basically equivalent to the second-generation arc reactor. While greatly reducing the consumption, it can also carry out more regular battles. However, as a mechanical body, the energy furnace made of special elements will not cause any poisoning effect on the mechanical body. So Geno's can fight with a higher chance. But this kind of energy furnace is placed on the armor, and ordinary people will be directly poisoned once they wear it. Even if a powerful mechanical efficiency can be exerted for a short time, there will be certain adverse consequences. However, as far as the current energy is concerned, it is far from enough to satisfy Geno's upgraded armor. Mu Bai knew very well that it wouldn't be long before he discovered the problem. But I believe that by then, Mu Bai can almost infer the development of new energy. A wave of hands. Whoosh whoosh. The mechanical body in the air, under the wrapping of countless scarlet colors, actually split apart on its own, similar to the way the armors fit together, but at this time it was a process of disintegration. The same doctor rubbed his eyes. Put your glasses back on. In the hands of Mu Bai's dreamlike magical powers. Enough to surprise the doctor. Next moment. Countless star-red rays of light are wrapped, and the parts are scattered one by one. Mu Bai also started a new selection and creation. The genius of the machine god comes from science fiction, among which the more popular is the assembly, which can directly build the future machinery into a transformer in the form of a vehicle. In that novel, however, these transformers are collectively referred to as mecha. The existence of these spirits who create and assemble them has absolute driving ability, and these machine spirits are used in the novel for the courage of young people. A series of battles of wits took place. Even the appearance of aliens has greatly advanced the level of civilization that the world is facing. What Mu Bai inherited is the complete inheritance talent. Not only can he infer how to assemble, but also can enhance his affinity for machinery to a greater extent. After all, Transformers, this is every boy's dream. The same goes for Mu Bai. What's more, there are still geniuses in mechanical research in this city. Child Emperor. Soon under the influence of these scarlet rays, those parts were constructed entirely according to Mu Bai's requirements, which was far from enough, but it was not bad to create a half-body. Soon, the scarlet light faded. These mechanical parts were reassembled under the traction. Before Mu Bai's eyes appeared, a small projection composed of scarlet light, with a square shape similar to a Rubik's Cube interface. Mu Bai clapped his hands and separated again. The cube interface suddenly enlarged, forming a four-sided projection. Covering him and the old professor. Parts like building blocks, floating in the air, exist completely in the order of small projections. The old professor on the side was just completely dumbfounded and didn't understand what Mu Bai was going to do. Snapped. Mu Bai clapped his hands and moved his fingers slightly. Next moment. As if playing the piano, Mu Bai makes continuous moves. The hands are building and creating in the direction of both sides. Start assembling. The mechanical parts floating in the air were restructured together, and where it seemed impossible to match, they immediately pulled each other with small changes. 20 seconds. Mu Bai retracted his hands. And those mechanical parts just now floated in the air in a completely new form. The form of a half-body, a mechanical body, completely empty. There is a blank space inside, which can completely carry humans, and it is bumpy and completely designed for humans. This, the doctor was immediately surprised. Mu Bai's move simply stunned him. A great miracle was born right before our eyes. The half-body form mechanical body fell to the ground. Click. The thick ground developed cracks. This means that the weight of this half-body machine is not small. The old professor reached out and lightly touched the lines of the cyborg body, the thick arms and the handparts attached to small parts. The mechanical body is beautiful and streamlined, as well as the overall thick and explosive, powerful feeling. From the grooves left in advance, there are countless fine crystal collocations and energy flows. It's incredible. The old doctor pushed his glasses. With a tough body, he raised his head to look inside the mechanical body. According to the known knowledge, it will take at least several decades of research to complete such a structure. However, his fuel was exhausted at this time, and even if a young clone was arranged, it would take several years to master the knowledge it left behind. This is simply by the hand of God. The old doctor shook his head slightly, his eyes full of shock. Looking back, he looked at Mu Bai, full of admiration. What exactly did you accomplish, and what will you carry on this piece? The old doctor hurriedly asked questions. This mechanical body is extremely powerful, and he can naturally see the powerful effect of hair ash. And to a certain extent, it can cause more active and effective assistance to ordinary humans, and even the effect is no less than the mechanical character that appeared just now. Even if you tell it, you can't study it. Mu Bai shook his head slightly. With a big wave of his hand, the semi-mechanical body in front of him suddenly disappeared. The young doctor who was being manipulated in the distance also came with the hard drive and handed it to Mu Bai respectfully. The old doctor opened his mouth, but never said anything. All the mechanical knowledge stored here, I am afraid that only the person in front of him has the opportunity to complete it. Although the thinking is radical, it is even contrary to the human world. But that doesn't mean he isn't a true scholar. At the same time, boom, the door was instantly bombarded with energy. Senior. Gino's surprised voice came from the door. There was a huge head in his hand. Saitama also walked in and poked out his ears. There was something just now that suddenly popped out of my eyes and punched Gino's. Well. The old doctor asked and looked. This, it turned out to be the one who was devastated by Mu Bai just now, the Asura unicorn. This is the ultimate body that has been researched. After all, he did not escape the hands of the three in front of him. Looking at the bald man in front of him and Mu Bai talking and laughing. The old doctor just understood. It turned out that he had lost a long time ago, and the loss was a mess. However, it seems that the two in front of them are already strong to a certain extent. Maybe he should really run out of fuel. 2 days passed in a hurry. Just 2 days have passed since the Mosquito Girl incident. But the heat never dissipated. Including the consequences of the previous attack on the city and the forest, it has caused a large-scale population imbalance, and even a large number of animals in the mountains and forests have disappeared. The EPA has launched, and more action, and these 2 days, Bai did not stop. The update about the manga Ghost Slayer Blade has been at its peak. There are almost 2 to 3 versions of updates every day, but this also caused the data to skyrocket. On the internet, the foreshadowing in the early stage of this comic finally came in handy at this time. The adventures of the protagonist and his companions have also officially entered the right track, and the final boss has appeared, bringing a sense of expectation. Bai has opened a private account. The level of attention on the first day has reached as much as 13 million. And in this city, even the top A-level heroes have not reached such a hot level. What? Stretching, Bai waved. The brushes that were constantly busy in front of them stopped and flew back to the box in an automatic and orderly manner. Looking at the time, it was already past 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The sun was gradually setting in front of him, and Bai sat up on the reclining chair without hesitation. Go back to the manga club and scan the new transcript and upload it to the internet. Only then did he take out the reduced version of Rambo and put it on the ground. Chaos magic flickered, and Rambo immediately returned to its original state. A cool sports car with an overall black tone. It is the latest Lambo on the market. Gently patted the body, Bai's mouth curled into a smile. This is purchased with the current half of the manuscript fee. The moment he saw the manuscript fee, Bai's heart was completely filled with relief. Choosing the Blade of Ghost Slayer and publishing it in this world is indeed a good choice. Moreover, follow-up plans, more comics are already in preparation. But now we have to go home. Came to the car, ignited manually, and with a kick of the accelerator, the car burst out. Along the way, it attracted a lot of attention. However, Bai keeps a low profile. The black window stickers made it impossible for those around to see Bai's face. Back home, Bai came to the kitchen skillfully. It has almost become a habit. In just a few days, dragon rolls have taken over Bai's Chinese food. Under the powerful perception of chaos magic, the tornado is at home. Bai shook his head slightly and began to prepare the ingredients. And this time, Tornado Room, under the pink tone, Tornado sat on the bed. In his hand he was holding a painting that looked like a scrap. Her eyes were a little unbelievable. Because of the cartoons that have been popular on the internet recently, she has been chasing more. Even the heroes will chase after the occasional time, and even guess the progress of the comics. However, by accident, she found this scrap on the table in Bai's room. It is Tanjiro, the protagonist of Demon Slayer's Blade, on the scrap manuscript, but it seems a little lacking compared to the complete image, and it seems a bit general without coloring. Carefully compare the characters in the comics with the scraps in front of you. The coincidence is almost 98%. If it is said that this is just a copywork, it cannot be denied, but on this scrap paper, the sunblade that the protagonist Tanjiro is holding is in the form of a flame that has never been seen before. Is it a guess, or Tornado looked serious? What happened next is simply unimaginable. Even as soon as the idea came out, Tornado immediately denied it. And think about the changes in Bai in this short period of time. As if suddenly enlightened, the dishes that have never been seen before, as well as the recent activities and small gifts, are a little dizzying. This made Tornado a little uncomfortable, but he was slowly accepting it. Until a sports car worth tens of millions appeared at home. It was only when she officially discovered that it seemed that she could no longer see through the Bai in front of her. Sigh lightly, hope to think more. Thinking of this in my heart, the smell of the food already came from the tip of my nose. A smile appeared at the corner of the tornado's mouth. In a short period of time, this has almost become a habit for the two of them. The cooking aunt at home has changed her job to other occupations, while Bai's daily work is busy in the kitchen. Taking another look at the drawing in front of me, the tornado was carefully folded. With a flick of a finger, the tornado floats. The door opens automatically. When I came to the hall, the table was full of various dishes. Another different dish. Sitting on the seat and picking up the chopsticks, the dragon roll immediately moved his index finger. The way to use chopsticks in front of her is exactly what Bai taught her. And from this she also found that Bai's things seem to be a lot. The last dish came. Seeing the appearance of the tornado feasting, the irritability of the busy day is also a lot easier. At the same time, in a huge laboratory, countless robotic arms are floating in the air, working in an orderly manner. Pop pop, the welding part is full of sparks. The transmission of the mechanical arm drives countless small parts to be installed on the mechanical body of the bed. It was Geno's. Doctor, how's the research going? He looked at the white coat who was busy beside him. Clap clap. Dr. Mushroom Head carefully tapped the keyboard in his hand, and the computer next to him displayed countless complicated data. Whether it is strength or gravity, it is 50% stronger than before. Using scrapped parts all over the body is enough to strengthen it to such a state, it's really unimaginable. Dr. Kusno's face was serious. And your breastplate has been damaged for unknown reasons. If it is the strength of the previous armor, I am afraid your reactor has burst. But the strengthened breastplate saved your life. He tapped the keyboard in his hand, but kept sighing in his heart. It took him nearly a dozen years to study the mechanical body of Genos, and it took him nearly 10 years to make the weak Genos have the powerful combat power it is today. However, as the enemies encountered became stronger and stronger, the mechanical body was no longer durable. The only thing that makes Dr. Kusno satisfied is that Geno's energy has never been a problem. And according to Geno's words, the young mysterious man can be strengthened and upgraded again just by using the scrapped parts of Genos. All data strengths tested are now 50% stronger than before. If the machine is remade and rebuilt, it is understandable that it is stronger. Including the mechanical body being researched at this time, it has also achieved its current effect. However, to know how much mechanical knowledge is required to strengthen on the basis of one's work, you can strengthen his 10 years of research at will. Is it really just a young man? The more Dr. Kusno looked at the data, the more alarmed he became. The perfect match value, the best harmony, so perfectly assembled. Yes. Genos nodded. I feel that you should worship this teacher more. Dr. Kusnor sighed slightly. Genos has always pursued the strongest, so as to defeat the mysterious man who once destroyed his world. However, it is not bad to have another teacher as a teacher. At this time, Bai is not clear. Dr. Kusnor, who made Genos, has taken him to heart. Such a handwriting from a young man, what a powerful mechanical talent. If there is a chance, I hope to meet him, exchange and ask for advice. Dr. Kusnor looked firmly at Genos. Genos was startled. I'm afraid this is the first time I've seen Dr. Kusno look so serious. As a scholar with advanced technology, Dr. Kusno has been silent here, but he is still proud. After seeing Bai's creation of him, he was so surprised. Genos nodded immediately. Okay. Doctor. Stepping off from the repaired machine, Genos moved his arm. There is no problem with the power transmission, and then leave happily. Looking at the back of Genos leaving, Dr. Kusno also showed a meaningful expression. The plan needs to be put on the agenda. Maybe with the help of this mysterious person, the final work can really be perfected. Organize Hammerhead for the latest attack. All beheaded by mysterious people, this is a bloody incident. But there seems to be one person still on the run. The latest special events are broadcast on the news. Belch, the tornado hiccuped uncontrollably. He quickly stretched out his hand and grabbed the water cup in front of him. He raised his head to drink water, and patted his chest lightly, which stopped the hiccups. Although this is an embarrassing thing, it seems that Bai doesn't care. And this time. Ding dong. A beep sounded from the tablet on the table. Updated. Putting down his chopsticks, Tornado's eyes lit up, and immediately opened the tablet, and immediately opened the manga homepage of Ghost Slayer. Spider Mountain. Close double angle bracket. The news of the new update has appeared. As long as the webpage is opened, all the news of the comic update is overwhelming. Some have even started spoilers. Moreover, pirated websites have hit the height of hot searches, which is unprecedented. Cut. Tornado pouted. Immediately log in to her VIP account, and immediately click into the new comics update. For the style of this author, Tornado has no idea how to evaluate it, from the beginning without knowing it to the instant explosion, until the whole people know it. In just a few days, tens of millions of guys have been harvested. Tornado is really interesting. But looked up at Bai, who was sitting by the sofa watching TV. Is it really this guy? Tornado muttered in his heart. In my heart, I immediately remembered the scrap manga I had just read. If that waste dog really foreshadows what's in front of the new show, then Bai's identity is also confirmed. Sudden. Bai got a call. I have something to do, I'll be back later. Okay. The tornado made a nasal sound, without raising his head. Fully immersed in the new manga update in front of you. Open the familiar and hot scene of the manga, and it reappears, followed by the memory of the last chase. This time the manga is completely consistent with the last time. And with the unfolding of the manga plot, the protagonist Tanjiro finally encountered the biggest enemy this time. The whole body was bound by countless silk threads, and even the sunwheel knife in his hand was cut off by the silk threads. At this moment of despair, Tornado pursed his lips slightly. My legs shrank involuntarily. After twists and turns, I saw a new memory suddenly emerge from the cartoon in front of me. And in her incredible eyes. Wow! The breath of water in Tanjiro's hands was instantly transformed into the breath of fire. The sunblade that was cut off at the beginning also exuded a strong flame brilliance in the blink of an eye. This moment, the cartoon in front of me completely overlapped with Mubai's scrap. It's really him. Tornado suddenly widened his eyes. Compared to the shock of the tornado, Mubai was even more shocked at this time. Snapped. Saitama put his arms around the target's shoulders, his face darkened. Mubai. You know what? I've made the biggest mistake of all time. What? Mubai was slightly taken aback. Immediately a little unclear, so looking at Genos on the opposite side with a heavy face, Mubai felt terrified. Something was wrong with Saitama. Suddenly, Saitama screamed in the sky. I don't even know that I can become a hero. I can get a lot of money, and I don't have to worry about the economy anymore. Think about how I've been a hero for the past few years, but I haven't officially registered. Mubai was speechless. Well, it doesn't even have to be imagined. Since Saitama quit his job, life has become increasingly difficult. There may be some savings in the beginning, but then there is no money at all. Only by defeating some weirdos can you get a part of the small economy. Whenever there is a discount in the supermarket, you are willing to spend money shopping, and even the cheapest udon noodles are reluctant to eat. Going to KFC can only afford one fries. Yes, the teacher is too miserable. Genos, who was beside him, immediately agreed. At this time, Saitama suddenly approached Mubai. So? Mubai asked back. Let's join the Hero Association together. Saitama looked serious. Yeah. Genos immediately began to applaud. This serious look has become a small follower in seconds. Thinking of the original play, Genos finally worshipped Saitama as his master. No matter how the butterfly effect occurs in some original plots, it will still not change. However, Saitama approached him to discuss this matter, which Mubai did not expect. But looking at Saitama's serious face, Mubai has no reason to refuse. The original plan was to join the Hero Association at this time. In the long run, the sign-in rewards have been fully integrated, and the strength can completely rank among the top ranks of S-class heroes. No longer hesitate, Mubai nodded lightly. Good, yes. Genos immediately cheered. Finally, I don't have to endure the master's broken thoughts anymore. The next 2 days were relatively lively. Comics Club. Mubai still maintains the update of Ghost Slayer's Blade, but also finished the new manga at the same time. Not bad. Looking at the finalized image in front of him, Mubai nodded approvingly. Wearing a school uniform, holding a long sword in his right hand, pointing straight at the sky. The girl in red beside her seemed to have had her soul extracted and fell to the side. The King's Birth March. Guilty Crown. The dark city was brightly lit, and there were countless mysterious people wearing masks, and Zizo wore them behind him. The teenager is frozen in black and white light and shadow. Finally reached out and put on the grinning chain mask. Slaughter is Born, an alien masterpiece. Tokyo Ghoul. Both comics were once top sellers, based on the immutable tone of life in this world. Mubai believes that these two comics will definitely occupy a large part of the cultural market in the near future. Wow! A red leather glove picked up the final draft. Amazing. Saitama's eyebrows were raised. Immediately hold the final draft, look left and right, look up, look down. In the boring life, when has he seen such cartoons? Every day is not a static life, mediocre, being a hero. And now there are such novel creations in front of us. Saitama immediately put on a grinning state. The same Genos, however, murmured and read, "For the birth of the king, give your heart." Looking at the final draft of the Guilty Crown in front of him, his eyes were full of interest. Immediately asked, "King, will he rule the world? Just like the East?" "No. But there is a chance," Mubai replied casually. "That's right. These two guys are here again and again. A small manga club. Saitama comes every day to either water the plants next to him, or to wear a half-human machine created by Mubai. run around. He even had a gleeful fight with Genos. Genos dare not. It is hard to forget in my mind how powerful the teacher's boxing style was. And now, Saitama's coming here has become the norm. However, Bai didn't care either. The comics that I think about are a bit cold. He is either basking in the sun or playing with machinery every day. All the mechanical theories about the House of Evolution have been integrated. Today, the remaining half-scale mechanical bodies can be manufactured as long as there are enough materials. And the evolutionary home, based on the narrative of energy, is understudied. Bai can only pin his hopes on Emperor Tong. At this time, Genos exclaimed, "Ah, got it. Teacher, senior. Look quickly." Genos took out his phone, and the homepage of the webpage, new news appeared. 55th Hero Rating Quiz. Countdown, 1 day. The short words have caused an uproar on the internet. Because, this represents a new hero test, and more heroes will be born to defend the city. And that's exactly what Saitama was waiting for. After learning to join the Hero Association, you can receive money as long as you perform reasonable hero quests. Saitama was so happy that he couldn't sleep well. And now, isn't that the opportunity? New hero quiz. I must get a good name. Saitama immediately clenched his fist firmly. S-class hero. The amount of money that can be received in a year is almost astronomical. You don't have to worry about the second half of your life anymore. A teacher who will definitely be. Genos looked serious. Others are hard to say, but if it is a teacher, it must be possible. And, about seniors. The Hero Association has made it clear that as long as the seniors show their identities, they can get the S-class hero seat in the blink of an eye. However, it is obvious that the seniors are interested in it, and it is also an existence that regards heroes as an interest. The ability to join the Hero Association this time also depends on the teacher's recommendation. Seeing Saitama so serious, Bai couldn't help but sigh slightly. Still don't hit this guy. The next day. A day when the nation is boiling. There are specific hero evaluation agencies in every part of the country. Hero Association. Saitama and Genos came to the manga club early. Give. Bai casually threw the Rambo key to Saitama. But I didn't expect that Saitama, who had never touched anything before in just a few days, was also interested in sports cars. After Genos taught by hand, the current Saitama can also speed up to the extreme. But just after opening the door, Saitama was slightly taken aback. 2 seats, what about you? I'll do whatever I want. Bai waved his hand. Okay. Saitama compromised and immediately got into the sports car. Genos in the passenger seat immediately buckled his seatbelt respectfully, as if he was well behaved. Take off. Saitama gritted his teeth, immediately fired, and kicked the accelerator. Looking at the figure of the black Rambo, Bai was helpless. Pulled out another shrunken version of the supercar from his pocket. With a wave of scarlet light, it enveloped the shrinking supercar, and then it became bigger in the blink of an eye. The body presents a perfect streamlined body, with a huge hole in the front of the car. You are the one. The corner of Bai's mouth slightly raised, and he walked into the supercar. At the same time, City B, the Hero Association is located here. In this day when the whole country is boiling, including the outside of the Heroes Association is also very lively. Like countless eggshell shapes, the semicircular Hero Association surrounded by huge glass buildings sits on the ground for hundreds of kilometers and is surrounded by countless greenery. The traffic fortresses extend in all directions, and at this time, countless people come here. At the brilliant door, there are already many people shaking their heads, and it is obvious that they want to show off their limelight at this time. I will definitely get the A-level hero license. Someone pointed at himself with a thumbs up, looking extremely arrogant. The group wearing vests sneered. The next moment, more people surrounded. The two sides actually had a faint fight, at this time. The accelerator roared, like the sound of thunder, from far to near. The people on the side of the road couldn't help but look sideways, covering their mouths subconsciously. I saw a Lamborghini like a black dragon, galloping down the aisle, unable to see the appearance of the people in the car, but the skilled driving skills easily avoided many obstacles. Amazing. Since I drove a car like this to take the test. It won't be the leader of a large group to inspect it, right? But it should be tall, rich and handsome. You can take a peek. There have been countless winks thrown at this moment. Genos opened the door and stepped out from the co-pilot. Seeing that it was a mechanical biochemical human, everyone was immediately at a loss for words, and they were all frightened by Genos' eyes. But there are still many girls who don't give up. The cab door is open. Under the expectation of everyone's eyes, the bald head appeared. Puff, countless people sprayed directly. Imagination and contrast come too suddenly. It's really tall, but a big bald head. I don't know if it's a monk. Sudden. Ohm. A stronger roar came from a distance. Another supercar. Soon, Mubai's Bugatti Veyron appeared in front of everyone. F*K. What's the situation today? Gao Fusui also came to be a hero. I'm desperate. In an instant, countless people were boiling. This surprised these people again. And soon the Bugatti Veyron stopped behind the Rambo. Saitama looked confused and looked at Genos. Is this what he said casually? Cough cough. Genos coughed awkwardly. Maybe this sports car is already very casual in the eyes of seniors. But then again, this car is really handsome. Mubai opened the car door. Next moment, everyone could see a long leg and walked out of the car door. Wow. Yes, this shouldn't be wrong. Many girls threw a wink, and were even surprised by the coolness of Bugatti. Then I saw the young man walking out of the sports car. Shish, there are already women whistling. The conditions were reversed in the former society, but almost all men were whistling. Next moment, Mubai showed his whole body. In a straight suit, with a white shirt collar showing at the neck, it looks casual, but it immediately shows its extraordinary qualities. This is the first time that Mubai has shown his true identity in front of everyone. I can feel that countless eyes around me are instantly focused on this. Shaking his head slightly, Mubai smiled disdainfully. I saw. Saitama and Genos walked away. Yo, is that what you mean by pick one? Saitama pointed at Bugatti, his eyes full of suspicion. Of course. Mubai nodded immediately. His eyes were extremely calm, as if there was no hint of lying. After looking around for a while, with the Bugatti in front of him, Saitama let out a sigh of relief. Okay. I have a chance to play with me. The same Genos secretly wiped his sweat. It's terrifying to be around seniors and teachers. After the vignette, the three came to the assessment hall. The huge assessment hall, unknown at this time, is like countless divided sports arenas. Because everyone has their own registration information. So, someone came to receive it soon. Regarding Saitama and Genos, there are other examination venues arranged. Come on. Saitama couldn't be more excited. Come on. Genos saw Saitama's back and secretly said, then turned his head to look at Mubai. What about senior? S class. Mubai was non-committal. This is the scene when the three separate. And Mubai came to the number 3 examination room. There are so many people in front of you, can't see the edge. Mubai did not reveal his identity in advance, so this assessment still needs to carry out a series of items. However, soon, countless eyes were focused on Mubai. Have you heard? That guy came in a Bugatti Veyron. And his friendly bald head is also driving a Lamborghini. My god, tens of millions of cars. Does this kind of person still need to participate in the hero test? Too disgusting. Feeling these unfriendly glances, Mubai was non-committal. These people exist everywhere. However, don't care. A minute later, the examination begins. The first item, the 1,500-meter run. It's a big project. However, the person on the right side of Mubai was very unfriendly. Under the provocative gaze, he said coldly, go home obediently. The Hero Association is not for you. Obviously, it's a hater of the rich again. Snapped. Gunshots sounded. The state on the right roared. Ah. He seemed to exert his strength to suckle, and suddenly rushed forward. The speed was really fast, almost 10 meters away in the blink of an eye, and looking back, Mubai was still in place and did not move. Humph. With a cold snort, he immediately accelerated. This time, the so-called rich and handsome were thrown far away. Let him see clearly that the Hero Association simply just thought of this. Sudden slap. A red lightning flashed instantly from his left. What? The strong man has not yet responded. Whoosh, it was the red lightning just now, surpassing it again. The third time. Drop, the whistle sounded. Mubai, 3 seconds, the recorder punctuated the time. The strong man is stunned. He just ran out of the 100 meters, and when he looked back, Mubai was already on his way to the next project. And he is still struggling at 100 meters. What a huge difference this is. For these boring people, Mubai has no interest in knowing. Quicksilver speed. It's where the sign-in is these days. After all, signing in every day, it is impossible to do nothing. Soon, Mu Bai came to the second project, weightlifting. Mu Bai did not hesitate to come to the heaviest tonnage. 1,000 tons, the recorder swallowed. What is he going to do? That's 1,000 tons. The people behind him who were also going to be tested were startled. Mu Bai didn't stop, just in their eyes. Click. Instantly lifted. Mu Bai, 1,000 tons. How is this possible? Under the shocking gaze of the recorder, Mu Bai moved to the next item. Is he really still human? Some people were already watching Mu Bai's back in horror. The third item. High jump. Boom. There was a hole in the roof in an instant. Gudong. The sound of countless people swallowing saliva appeared. Fourth item. Whack the gophers. And this time, Mu Bai didn't even bother to take it out, and when he waved his hand, the scarlet color was covered on the hammer next to him. Clap clap, extremely terrifying speed, completed the whack-a-mole neural response test. Without stopping, Mu Bai moved on to the next item. However, the recorder just now made a call at this time. The fifth item. The sixth item. All sprint with very scary records. End of record. Mu Bai loosened his buttons, not even a warm-up. The evaluation standard of the Hero Association is based on ordinary people, but the real powerful people will not care about these. At this time, there were rapid footsteps. I saw that the man in this suit came with a beard, but at this time he was in good spirits. Thank you for coming to the Hero Association. Please come this way. Good. Mu Bai nodded lightly. When he came to the Heroes Association, chaos magic had already shrouded the audience, and the accidental use of chaos magic just now had obviously been seen by those who were interested. Mu Bai did not refuse. Would you like to be a hero? Of course. What do you think a hero stands for? Protect and save. Very good. From today, you are the 7th hero of the S rank. Brief conversation. Do it in a dark environment. However, Mu Bai is very clear. In the conference room of the dialogue compartment, 10 people sit around a round table. On the table are all the materials that Mu Bai has participated in the battle so far. This. Just a meeting for him alone. But this way of talking also made him feel relaxed. Call. Exhale. Mu Bai walked out of the conference room and came to the waiting area. In memory. The Hero Association's management system for S-Class heroes is very easy, and all S-Class heroes are not directly managed by the Hero Association. Whether or not to carry out heroic activities is entirely up to voluntary. And the Hero Association will regularly issue generous remunerations to S-Class heroes. In the event of a dragon-level disaster, it is time for an S-level hero to take action. Senior. Seeing Mu Bai's figure, Genos hurriedly greeted him. Genos held a document in his hand, wrapped tightly. This is exactly the result of the evaluation. Genos, how's the grade? Mu Bai smiled back. 19-year-old Genos maintained a pure and kind nature, even if his home was destroyed and his parents died tragically. Under the educational guidance of Dr. Kuznau, he still maintains his original heart. Even in future battles, Genos has never achieved a breakthrough victory. However, the combat power is indeed very impressive and continues to improve. And that's one of the reasons why Mu Bai is friendly. S-Class. Genos clenched his fists tightly. In a serious tone, there was an expression that lived up to expectations. Pop gently patted Genos on the shoulder. Mu Bai nodded lightly. Nice job. Although it makes sense, Mu Bai asked again, where's Saitama? The teacher is here. But there seems to be a problem with the judgment. You should come and have a look. Genos was slightly taken aback. Come to the corner. Mu Bai found that at this time, Saitama had black lines all over his head, leaning against the wall in the corner, and his whole body lost his vitality. In his hand, he holds a judgment sheet with the C grade of the big order written on it. Describe it in one sentence. Saitama. My mind is broken. Originally full of ambitions, I wanted to get the S rank hero ranking. As a result, all the tests were completed and I finally got a C rank. Even Genos got an S rank, which made him lose his old face. Of course Mu Bai knew what was going on. Hero rankings don't explain the problem. In fact, your original intention is only interested in becoming a hero, but at present you are just trapped by life. But your original intention has not been lost. No matter how low the ranking is, everything can move forward slowly. After all, the 3 years of hard work, it's not for nothing. Wow. This sentence immediately piqued Saitama's enthusiasm. Yes. He nodded in agreement, rubbing his chin thoughtfully. If you say that, it's really the case, He stood up and shook his arms. Ah. The blood is boiling again. The next moment, Saitama remembered something and asked, "What about you?" S-class. Forget it, it's fine. You treat a guest to dinner. Saitama's steps toward the outside were also a little faster without noticing it. A meal of Wagyu beef. Enjoy, Saitama. The posture of chewing the food fiercely, as if to bite the evaluators. Wow, 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 fast speed, constantly stuffing food into his mouth. Mu Bai smiled wryly. This guy. Sometimes it's so true. However, think about it. With all the functional credibility of the past 3 years, it has been ranked 7th in the S-class. No, it's the 8th. According to the real combat power of this world, Saitama is the worthy S-class first. However, it seems that the association judges. It is intentional. If, so to speak, there is only one person in the Hero Association who really knows Saitama and knows his strength. S-class first blast. With Saitama's true fighting power and the terrifying talent shown, no one would hesitate to put him in the A rank. Such an operation is very meaningful. At this time. Grease jumped. Senior, please. With an apron on, Genos instantly became the perfect catering expert. With a serious face, he handed the plate in front of him to Mu Bai. Pick up a piece of beef at will and put it in your mouth. It tastes really good, and it's tender and delicious. Mu Bai shook his head slightly. A little bit. How come? Genos immediately replied. I found the highest French dining practice in the database, and it can lock the umami of the beef while being medium rare. Abba. Saitama looked at the two with wide eyes, and then shoved it into his mouth. It does lock in the umami of the beef, but it doesn't let the dishes blend in. Mu Bai nodded lightly. Then the right hand waved. The spatula on the table and the Wagyu on the plate next to it flew to the iron plate at the same time, and the Wagyu gradually became familiar with the sprinkling of the raw materials. Great. Genos was surprised by Mu Bai's smooth operation. This move instantly made Genos see that Mu Bai was still a master. Abba. Saitama went on to eat Hasai, stuffing his cheeks as big as the mouth of a bowl. Chew vigorously, anyway, today and the real thing in front of you can't get through. As for fried Wagyu, the most important thing is not to be in a hurry. Everything should be done first. If all the ingredients are sprinkled in one piece, the taste will be mixed up. While speaking, different ingredients were sprinkled on it. The oil temperature is just right, and if you combine them in order, the taste will be sublimated. The voice fell, and the fried Wagyu came to Genos' dinner plate. Silky fragrance, fragrant nose. Genos wanted to start the instrument and analyze the data immediately. However, Mu Bai smiled softly. Eat it while it's hot, the taste will change when it's cold. Genos just quit. He gently picked up the Wagyu with chopsticks and put it in his mouth. Next moment, all the flavors of the cooking bloom in the stomach. Chew lightly. Not only the umami of the river beef, but also the handling of the dishes. It simply elevates the taste, and this moment. Genos' mind echoed Mu Bai's words just now, and the strength he had been pursuing all along was suddenly blown away at this moment. Original, Mu Bai is not talking about Wagyu. It's the way to become stronger, senior. Puff. Genos falls to his knees, he took it. Mu Bai did not speak. The truth is that, but his craft is really good. Recently signed a chef to develop talent. In the previous cooking, it has gone up countless levels. The same Saitama followed by Abba. The cheeks have been pointed to the point by something. Still eating Haze. Mu Bai immediately moved to the side with a look of disgust. At this time, Mu Bai frowned slightly. In the perception, an existence with very powerful life energy is rushing here at the speed of passing through it in a few blinks of an eye. Wow, murderous. Saitama stood up immediately. Gu Dong swallowing all the food in his mouth into his stomach, his face also changed. It took only 1 second to complete the role change from being a fool, Hu Shihaisai. The same Genos also wiped his mouth and stood up. Teacher. Looking at the concerned eyes, it is obvious that he wants to help. Never mind. Saitama's face turned dark. You still don't follow me, as long as you are by your side, all the credit will be taken away. Okay, in a word, Genos exits the stage. Are obediently cooking in front of you. Mu Bai picked up the small wine and took a sip, his eyes narrowed slightly. I saw a figure 500 meters away rushing towards this side quickly, with a long knife attached to the back of the black dress. Sony egg. Mu Bai was slightly startled. Why is this guy appearing now? But think about it, I'm afraid, it's the butterfly effect again. Saitama has also come to the streets. A hero's costume attracts everyone's attention. Brush, the black figure went out. Sony Egg grinned. Saitama. As soon as the voice came out, the scene of the last time he was hanged and beaten could not help but emerge in his mind. And, the most humiliating attack was on the greatest weakness of men. This is simply not acceptable. So, after getting back on his feet, Sonic found himself still strong. And this time, after training, the speed of strength has increased again, and Saitama must pay the price. Ah. Who are you not here? Saitama's eyes lit up. Touching his chin, he immediately recalled. Trash. Legend. Oh. Joint fear. It's exactly all the harmonics of Sonic. Although the 8 poles have nothing to do with it, Sonic's face is getting darker and darker. Even if he has already thought about how to appear, who would have expected to be treated like this? Sonic. The dark-faced Sunny continued to say in a deep voice, I finally found you, Saitama. I'm going to kill you today. Slightly clenched fists. Looking at the bald egg in front of him, Sonic already has countless ways to kill the bald head in front of him. Moreover, the value of this death must be made to show that his strength is not wrong. However, the voice did not fall. Saitama immediately interrupted. Sorry, I'm busy right now. I'll talk about it later. Since this is what he has taught, there is no need to take care of it. I thought who was angry, it turned out to be this guy. Looking back, Bai and Genos are cooperating with cooking, and spraying oil with ricotta, it doesn't feel too cool. And, this kind of treat won't happen once in hundreds of years, so the first time in history must not end like this. After saying that, Saitama walked towards the store without hesitation. But he didn't realize that Sony Egg's face was getting darker and darker behind him. The eyes are bloodshot and the veins are bursting. In front of me, don't even think about running away. Wow! Sonic turned into demon mode in an instant, pulled out the long sword in his hand and slashed towards Saitama's front door. Saitama bared his teeth for a moment, biting on the incoming blade. Click! The steel blade was bitten into countless pieces by Saitama's teeth and scattered everywhere. Saitama is really annoying for such a stalker. And if you fight, you will fight, and it's not a good thing to slash people in the face. And Sonic was immediately stunned. He didn't see anything clearly, and when he came back to his senses, the long knife in his hand had broken into pieces. Now he is very puzzled. Why did the knife crack? Saitama also took a serious tone. I said, I'm really busy. I'm annoying now, don't mess with me. The next moment, he turned his head to look at Sony Egg. Be careful, I'll beat you. This look. Incorporating all the frustrations encountered today, showing confidence in going to the Hero Association to take the quiz, and all the quizzes are almost fully reported. But I didn't expect the ranking to get a C rank. This is not the most important thing. Both his apprentice and Bai can easily take 2 S's, but when it comes to him, something goes wrong. Even, in the past few years, there have been so many heroic activities but no one paid attention. It was just because he did not register. He could even receive countless money, but he was very poor. Think about the taste of Wagyu beef I haven't tasted for many years. Just as he was expressing his unhappiness, he was found by Sony Egg. Saitama was even furious at this moment. That's it. Rumbling. Sonic's heart trembled, as if a huge wave had been set off. Moreover, under these terrifying eyes, Sonic even smelled the breath of death. What's the matter with this trembling feeling in the soul? Sonic couldn't resist. At this time, it's the 2 of them who are affecting road traffic. They don't look like good people, maybe some bad guy. The little girl in a pink dress beside the road pointed. It's obviously him. Okay. Saitama rolled his eyes and tugged at his clothes. Hero, I am a hero. At this time, snapped. A tall figure appeared behind Saitama, reaching out a big hand to cover Saitama's bald head. Suddenly, whoosh! Red lightning flashed. The hand stretched out in the suit and leather shoes easily pinched the big hand of the vest tiger. Under this terrifying force, the tiger in the vest was stunned to find that he could not use half of his strength, and it was difficult to move his whole body. I said, please don't have such strange thoughts. A cold voice came from the man in the suit. Bai said indifferently, they are also heroes. I advise you to do your part. If you can do indecent actions to your companions at will, I don't mind crushing your arm. The tiger in the vest suddenly looked down. Bai's icy eyes didn't mean anything. Use your palms lightly. Click! A crisp sound came from the clenched arms. The next second, the heart-piercing pain began to tear every nerve. What? The tiger in the vest opened its mouth, and the pain spread all over the body, and roared loudly from its mouth. This pain immediately made the little girl in pink next to her turn pale. Brush. The entire small face lost its blood in an instant. This kind of behavior is not a hero, it's just bullying. Mew Bai let go of his hand. Go away. The tiger in the vest is not pretending to be forced, and even scrambling and crawling to the distance. As for the little girl, looking at the back of the tiger in the vest, she hurriedly ran towards the street amid the screams. It is true that nosy is the essence of a hero, but bullying others is completely contrary to heroic behavior. Mew Bai was very unhappy about the guy who took the Saitama bald head. Ah. Thank you. Saitama even smiled. I thought it was to help him, but the bald head was almost attacked. Nodding lightly, Mew Bai didn't speak, and turned to look at Sonic opposite. Eye to eye. Kaka Sonic took 2 steps back subconsciously. Aloof and daring, Saitama's eyes have been frightened. And now. There's another one. The moment Mew Bai appeared, he was shocked. Sonic, this is his title. It is also very famous as a bounty hunter. But just now, his knife shattered suddenly, it was not an illusion at all. Frightened moment. Mew Bai appeared suddenly, and the speed was so fast that only an afterimage could be seen, like the light of thunder, and when he noticed it, he was already beside him. And, gigantic, with ease, he clenched the arm of the muscular man just now. Light force is enough to crush. Such an enemy has already exceeded his combat range. Alarm bells ringing in his heart, Sonic immediately ran away. If you can't beat it, then get up and train hard, and when you can beat it, you will be ashamed before the snow. Brush between the 2 jumps, Sonic turned into an afterimage and disappeared into the high-rise building in the distance. After being freed by Mew Bai, Saitama turned around. Sonic is gone. Baffling, Xiao Xiao mumbled, and when he turned around, Mew Bai had returned to the restaurant. For the sake of Wagyu, Saitama is no longer entangled. After drinking and eating, everyone said goodbye to each other. Genos looked serious and said, Senior, if you have time, I hope you can go to City D. Dr. Kusno, who has been taking care of me, wants to meet you. A personal business card was handed to Mew Bai. Accepting the business card, Mew Bai nodded lightly. Okay. Under the setting sun, the separate figures of everyone slowly freeze. Back home. It's getting dark, however, Mew Bai was slightly startled. There were 4 or 5 dishes on the dining table, and they were so dark that they couldn't be seen. The white flowers on them were correct, they should be salt. Master. Sister-in-law Zhang quickly grabbed Mew Bai's sleeve. Go and persuade Miss. She has to learn to cook when she says anything, and she has already broken 2 pots. Next moment. A pungent breath suddenly came. Cough cough. Mew Bai hurriedly coughed twice. Sudden. Click, then with a bang, the broken pot was thrown out. The smoke-filled kitchen is like a fairyland, with clouds and mists floating in the air. The tornado in the dress came out boldly with a spatula. Mew Bai. I'm going to cook too. With a serious look on his face, Mew Bai was slightly taken aback. If you dare to go out and you are not careful, the tornado will be at home. But seeing his silly daughter-in-law so cute, Mew Bai could only smile bitterly. Okay. Chaos magic could not be used at home, so Mew Bai had to quickly turn on the exhaust fan, and the smoke-filled kitchen immediately returned to peace. Looking at it, the whole kitchen was already smoky. Dishes and the like are all over the place, as if there was a loud explosion. All were crushed into iron lumps by the tornado with gravity. Mew Bai was shocked. Good guy. You know that the tornado is cooking. If you don't know, you think that the kitchen has gone through the 4th World War. Helpless, I can only teach by hand. Dang dang. The sharp kitchen knife kept flying in his hand, and the chopped green onion in front of him was neatly cut into countless small parts. The tornado on the side couldn't look away. Is this the cooking process? Although it seems so simple, I don't know why it is so difficult for her to get started. Mew Bai is also unambiguous and takes it seriously. First-hand cooking skills are at their peak, and knife skills are extremely skilled. After going through the previous check-ins, Mew Bai finally understood some check-in rules. You do get some special rewards for checking in at special locations. But it doesn't depend on someone or something. For example, 2 days ago, I suddenly decided to sign in the kitchen, and I got the talent for developing a chef. In the past, there was an attack by a weirdo. Lightning Max suddenly passed by, and he signed in and got the Quicksilver skill. From this Mew Bai finally understood. The sign-in system requires constant sign-in. But it also depends on the time or place. Finally, under the guidance of Mu Bai, dragon roll cooking finally got started. Mu Bai was a little uncomfortable with the sudden liking of tornadoes. My wife is good at everything, just like a little girl who doesn't know anything. Sigh slightly. I don't know if this sudden cooking preference will disrupt the development process. 2 days passed again. In the past 2 days, the dragon rolls will make some small dishes if there is something wrong. Although the taste is really not to compliment, but it is not to the point where it is difficult to enter. And just after the accidental phone call from Tornado, Mu Bai finally understood. Dragon rolls hope to be able to cook for dragon rolls. After all, my sister-in-law has not been back for a long time. As a sister-in-law, tornadoes naturally miss blowing snow. However, I don't know how to express it. Comics Club. Check-in location. Manga Club. Signing in. Sign-in is complete. Sign-in reward. Arc Reactor, full series. The new sign-in is complete. Mu Bai also slowly opened his eyes. Gaba. Make a light fist. Combining the power of the dragon elephant that was put on hold, the strength has risen again. Compared with the power of the god of destruction, the place of origin is like a feather. But it is also rewarding. It's a new reward, something. Turn on the system. The arc reactor. Mu Bai's eyes lit up immediately. What do you really want? The dose system sends pillows. A big wave. Slamla, the debris next to the wall fell, revealing the dark armor. The corners of Mu Bai's mouth immediately evoked a smile. Finally got a chance to turn this armored artwork into a real mechanical product. At this time. Alert! Alert! The huge meteorite is approaching the Earth. The target ground Z City. The Hero Association rated the disaster level, Dragon level. Please all people in the surrounding cities do a good job of evacuating. Alert! Alert! A new alarm goes off. Very good, keep checking in. Mu Bai's body was immediately covered with a scarlet color. 2 minutes ago. The extraterrestrial space station is quiet. Hey, I don't know when I can go back, the fat young astronaut sighed. The same uncle teased. I must miss my family. While speaking, the movements of his hands did not stop, turning the screws in front of him. I saw that the uncle was in front of a huge solar shading panel. This is a space battle, and the daily task of the 2 astronauts is maintenance. Yes. The young astronaut smiled. Suddenly, right at this moment. Look. What is that? The uncle suddenly tightened his face. A huge black meteorite appeared behind the 2 of them, slowly rotating and approaching the Earth. In the absence of gravity, it began to be pulled. The same moment, the news immediately reached NASA. Drip drip, a huge alarm sounded, and it immediately entered a state of first-level combat readiness. Tight controls are displayed on the huge screen in front of everyone, including analysis and live footage from space. You can see huge meteorites with irregular shapes, constantly approaching the Earth. Once you get close to the Earth, it will probably hit the ground directly under the influence of gravity. The danger index has risen from level 6 to level 9. Like this huge meteorite, even a missile can't intercept it. All the experts look shocked one by one. The commander-in-chief here is the final word. Notify the Hero Association. Time goes back to the present. City A. Hero Association. In the small conference room, all the staff are sitting on the side of the square table. There are countless data analysis on the table in front of them, and all the coping plans appear on the projection. After the meteorite fell into the Earth, satellite observations were started to calculate from various angles, and the trajectory of the meteorite's fall was continuously studied. At this moment, there is finally a breakthrough. If there is no accident, the ceremony will fall in City C. It will cause huge losses, and even if it is not handled properly, the entire C city will disappear in an instant. The female commissioner in charge of the explanation looked serious. Everyone knows that once the meteorite does land, it will also have a big impact on the Earth. And this is a race against time. Holding his chin all the time, the man with glasses who had never spoken suddenly said. Is it possible to shoot down? Unless nuclear weapons are used, even missiles have no such capability. And for every point, the hardness of the meteorite will also increase by 1 point. Once it can't be stopped, the Earth may be smashed through. As soon as these words came out, the audience immediately fell silent. Including the female commissioner, and everyone present was speechless. They looked at each other and couldn't come up with a policy response. Still can't get in touch with Tornado? Yes. In the dark, someone pursed his lips slightly. After a silence, only the man with glasses said. Turn the meteorite orbit to the no man's land of Z City. This final decision. Everyone could only sigh softly. After 2 minutes, the news section of the TV station broadcasts reports about the meteorite. During this time, almost everyone is at work, and only the elderly, children and women are left at home. The Hero Association has issued a disaster rating. This time the rating is Dragon level. Please do the transfer work for the citizens around Z City. A time. Countless people settled in front of the TV. But the reaction was followed by a huge worry and fear. In just 1 minute, I looked out the window again, and there were all fleeing figures on the road and the streets. Drop, drop. The streets were jammed with vehicles, and countless people sat in their cars and honked their horns, but to no avail. Crowds of people, turbulent. Soon, a hero's figure appeared. Both the C rank and B rank heroes are very active in clearing the traffic, and even in this chaotic situation, some weirdos have launched attacks. However, at the moment of the disaster, the hearts of the people are united, including the strength of the hero is also used in the same place. Small disasters, no surprises. In this case, the meteorite is getting closer and closer to the ground. Hero Association. Let's start. The commander-in-chief of the operation, he gritted his teeth slightly and waved his hand. At this time, if you wait for 1 more point, the hardness and quality of the meteorite will increase by 1 point. Yes. The waiting army commander nodded immediately. All the remaining soldiers completed the reloading in 1 second. Under the control of high technology, countless shells pierced the sky and shot down the meteorite that flew to the earth. High in the air. After the meteorite landed on the ground, under the influence of gravity. Start spinning on its own. The sharp speed rubbed against the air, and the irregular shape at the beginning had gradually become a circle, and an indestructible trace was formed on the surface of the meteorite. This layer achieves brilliance, and even the quality of polishing is very high. Seeing that there are missiles on the ground. Boom boom, a violent explosion burst open on the surface of the meteorite. Etc. The commander-in-chief of the Hero Association, a heart has been raised in his throat. The height of the meteorite is 63,000 kilometers. The recorder reported immediately. Next moment. Drop, drop. A small change has taken place in the above image analysis on the controlled computer. A small change in the angle at which the meteorite landed indicates that the missile did have a certain impact on the meteorite. Success. The deviation angle is 3%. It still takes 2% to completely land in the no man's land of Z City. After receiving an affirmative answer, the commander-in-chief wearing glasses immediately slammed. Continue. Yes. The secret mission is unknown. On the streets, there are enough people to see countless figures running and fleeing, in order to escape the city that is about to be destroyed. On a tall building. Genos looked at the vicissitudes of this world and sighed softly. Then shook his head slightly. The next moment, he looked firmly at Z City in the distance. That's where the teacher lives. Looking up again, I saw that the huge circular meteorite was infinitely approaching Z City. Through friction in the sky, a thick layer of flames formed on the surface of the meteorite. And in Genos' scan, even for meteorites, the surface temperature has reached thousands of degrees. The information this represents is the hardness and strength of the meteorite. Genos knew he couldn't wait any longer. Coming to a higher building, the scanner analyzes and selects the best landing position in 1 second. He no longer hesitated. Laugh. Blue flames spewed from the double walls, and the jumps seemed to be gliding, jumping back and forth between the buildings, infinitely approaching the best position. City Z. Hero Association. Squeak. In the sound of braking, the silver Bugatti Veyron stopped suddenly, and after a slight rebound. Mew Bai opened the car door and took off his sunglasses. Along the way, he ran extremely fast, used chaotic magic to modify the terrain, and arrived at the Z City Hero Association in just 3 minutes. If anyone sees it, I'm afraid they will call the expert fast and furious. However, it is a pity. Mew Bai took the high-altitude passage. Pushing open the door of the Hero Association, it seemed empty at this time. There are a few green plants at the entrance, standing alone, with no front desk staff. In the huge hall, there was only an old man with his waist on his back, who seemed to have just arrived. Hearing Mew Bai's movement, he turned his head and looked over. Huh. Why is it a raw face? I thought it would be the newcomer Genos. The old man had white hair in the sky, a white beard hanging from his mouth, and his forehead was covered with wrinkles, but he was in good spirits. He made a warrior gesture. My name is Bongu, please advise. In fact, Mu Bai recognized it at the first glance of the old man in front of him. The Silver Fangs ranked third in the S rank. One-handed Liusui in Shattering Fist is superb, and the combat effectiveness should not be too high to deal with the existence of weird people. Not only is the physical damage powerful, but the martial arts attainments are even more superb, and the strength of the battle is unimaginable when paired with his O'Neill sauce in the later stage. But no matter how powerful he is just an old man from the eyes. "Oh, hello. I'm Mu Bai." Mu Bai nodded lightly, and couldn't help but wonder. The association has issued a notice, how come no one shows up? Looking left and right, no one was there. The disaster has happened, and the meteorite is about to fall into Z City. This is the time when the S-class heroes are doing their best. Why? They all went to the headquarters of the association. This branch is empty. The summoned S-class heroes, only you and I are here. Speaking of S-class heroes, Bang Ji-yu hesitated a little. He has been looking at Mu Bai since he came here, but he is very sure that there is no information about this person among the S-class heroes. Moreover, when he joined the association earlier, everyone knows only the new S-rank hero Genos. This, just a little puzzling. However, looking at Mu Bai's appearance should be equally heroic. Almost a grade. But what is the association doing to summon A-level heroes at this time? Bang Ji-yu frowned slightly. In my heart, I can't figure it out. Mu Bai also frowned slightly, and when it was time for the hero to go out, there was no one there. How is this going? Either it's too far away to come, or I'm busy with other things. There are also some cold-blooded animals who find it troublesome. Bang Ji-yu sighed. Because once called by the association, basically it is to deal with difficult problems that are difficult to solve, but this time even I don't know what to do. While speaking, Bang Gu's expression darkened. A calm tone is not like lying. Mu Bai understood in seconds. Banggu is a hero with physical output, without any magic damage. His superb martial arts accomplishments allow him to easily defeat monsters, or even crush them completely, but when he encounters this kind of natural disaster that destroys the world, he is helpless. You better evacuate early. Banggu's body moved, and he actually came to Mu Bai's side in a single step. Pop patted Mu Bai on the shoulder. He said solemnly, "You'd better take your family to escape from City Z as soon as possible. Such a big disaster is not something that an A-level hero can handle." As soon as the voice fell, he took a step forward and came to the outside of the association. The footsteps are not slow, and the top of the head is the position where the meteorite landed. However, he didn't see it. Seeing the old man's back getting farther and farther, Mu Bai's mouth curled into a smile. Class A. Is this being underestimated? According to rumors, the third A-level hero is Silver Fang Banggu. It is very easy to get along with, and very approachable, and as a martial arts master, he is not proud and has ordinary people in his heart. True guru style. Maybe not from the anime, but now in reality, Mu Bai feels deeply. Well, in that case, let's help you once. Taking out the car key, the scarlet color flashed. Mu Bai has come to the car. These people have lost hope of life. Stopping on the roof of a certain building, Genos scanned the crowd below. This is the critical point where the meteorite falls, but among the tall buildings below, there are still countless people enjoying this last moment. They eat, chat and even watch TV as usual. However, knowing that in such a situation where there is almost no chance of survival, there is only one possibility to maintain such a state of mind. Hey, with a sigh, Genos clenched the suitcase in his hand slightly. Looking at the meteorite above his head, he was full of courage. Because this is his last chance, but I didn't expect to use your secret weapon at this time. It was originally used to fight against the master, but it's too late for this. This thought crossed his mind, and Genos immediately threw out the suitcase. Kaka, the black streamlined mechanical body, the mobile phone case rotated in the air, and then disassembled, and the deformation was completed in just 1 second. Two black mechanical body armored arms appeared in front of them. Genos rushed out with a stride, inserting his 2 arms into the machine. Caw, similar to the possession of Transformers, Genos has completed the transformation in the blink of an eye. Laugh. A trace of energy overflowed, and the energy hub of the blue streamline body circulated immediately. The mobilization of energy is completed in the blink of an eye. And this is Dr. Kusno, developed based on Genos after Mu Bai's upgrade. I didn't expect it to be so smooth to use. Click. Gently move your fingers, and the tempered glass on the tall building has already shattered into slag. Looking up at the meteorite above his head again, The hope in Gino's heart rose to another level. Finally, after 2 jumps, we have come to the best attack spot. Compared with the surrounding buildings, this building is extremely tall, and the overall weight it can bear is not small, and its load-bearing capacity is very strong. This means that the impact that can be tolerated is even greater. Gino's can also let go of his hands and feet, however, just dropped. What is that? Gino's frowned. In the visual scanner, it immediately scanned the distance, and a special flight appeared in the clouds. I see. Whoosh jet forward is a flying backpack, scraping off the clouds, revealing a thick silver mechanical body, a mechanical body head with a protruding bow. There are 2 huge gun barrels on the back, which is different from Gino's mechanical body, which is similar to a purebred robot. Click landing steadily beside Gino's. Gino's scanner also showed the whole picture. Slightly startled, he had already recognized who the robot in front of him was. Gino's immediately said, "You are Pofoy." Yes. The robot with its back to Gino's didn't look back. However, the sound of metal also sounded at the same time. "You should be the new S-class hero Gino's. Are you here to stop the meteorite too?" A strong back, with a hint of arrogance in his tone. Yes. Gino's nodded seriously. He recognized at a glance who was in front of him. S-rank 7th Metal Knight. The most mysterious of the entire S-class heroes, and the existence of the information has never been leaked, and no one even knows his face. The registration information shows only this steel body. Gino's looked happy. "Are you from City Z too? To be able to come in such a short time, only the aboriginal people of history can do it." And hearing the words, it seems that the Metal Knight is also here to stop the meteorite. Gino's tone was a little excited. Hearing the question, the Metal Knight shook his head slightly. Hee. I'm not from City Z, and I'm not here to organize meteorites. What? Gino's was shocked. How is it possible? Are you not a hero? This meteorite is about to destroy the essence of the hero here, isn't it just to stop the meteorite? Gaba. Make a fist. 19-year-old Gino's had confusion and anger written all over his face. Aren't you a hero? Even this sentence has already blurted out in my heart. Looking at the back of the Metal Knight again, the majesty of the beginning is no longer there. Heard. The Metal Knight moved, and then he turned his head and looked over. Of course it's a hero, but in the face of this kind of disaster, you should also know very well that it's not human beings that can influence it. 3 holes glowing red, the whole body is wrapped in thick steel, and it looks like a robot. Although I only know part of the information, Gino's is not familiar with the Metal Knight in front of him. However, the Metal Knight's words also silenced Gino's. Looking up at the meteorite in the sky, the momentum is getting bigger and bigger. The whole picture of the meteorite has also entered the scanner's database globally. There is no optimal solution, and even whether it can break the epidermis of the meteorite is also a problem. Let alone stop this meteorite. I'm just here to test my new weapon. If it works that's great, but it doesn't work. And there's nothing I can do. The Metal Knight spoke again, and also turned to look at the meteorite in the air. Testing new weapons? You will also die if the meteorite falls. Gino's was stunned. It's all gone to this point, and new weapons are being tested. This steel is really not afraid of death. However, Taihoji shook his head lightly. I won't die. The only thing I'm talking to you is my remote-controlled robot. Unfortunately I won't risk my life, and don't call me Bofoy, call me Metal Knight. Remember to use titles when addressing heroes, this is common sense. A slightly reprimanding tone. Sudden, boom boom. A thick explosion of air came from the air. The two looked up into the air at the same time. The irregular meteorite at the beginning was extremely rounded by the friction of the air, and a thick flame ignited on the surface. And this is just the result of friction with the air surface. There are long traces behind the meteorite. The white clouds in the sky were pulled out of a gap, and at this time, looking up, you could see how big the meteorite was. Forget it, it looks like there's no time left. The Metal Knight muttered to himself. Good. Gino's immediately clenched his fists. With his right hand on the ground, a strong red flame erupted in his palm. Suddenly, the same Metal Knight roared, missile launch. Whoosh whoosh. As the voice fell, the backpack behind him accepted the command, and countless intense flames were generated under the backpack. The shell on the steel backpack opened, revealing countless rounded warheads. Then under the guidance of the flame, all the warheads were launched in a straight line. Laugh. More and more warheads form a cross-lock body in the air. Drip drip, Gino's narrowed his eyes slightly. All data entry records for these missiles in view. In an instant, his pupils shrank. Also, as a mechanical iron warrior, he tested the data of these steels very accurately. And equipped with a super intelligent chip, he can react with energy to these weapons in an instant. At present, the value of these missiles has greatly exceeded the standard, and there is no explosion, indicating that the metal actually used a special method to manufacture these weapons. But once the power of the explosion will be unimaginable. Next moment, all the missiles hit the meteorite. Boom. The gigantic flames converged at the moment when all the missiles exploded. From the bottom, it looks like countless mushroom clouds are intertwined with each other. Even the ground could not stop and trembled. At this moment, the sky was blown open, and the white light on the ground was dyed red by this huge flame. The clouds that gathered together were completely dispersed at this moment. Under such tremendous force, Gino's smart chip was unable to penetrate the grand flame, causing analysis. Damn it. He gritted his teeth slightly. Look back at Metal Knight, though. Gino's eyes were already filled with a little vigilance. Such a terrifying power, once a battle occurs, it is somewhat irresistible. But at this moment, the thick flames in the sky dissipated, revealing the original appearance of the meteorite. Only blocked for a moment, the meteorite continued to fall. The Metal Knight shook his head slightly. Is the power just now not enough? The tone was a little unwilling. But new weapons testing has been completed, there is no reason to stay. Laugh. The backpack behind the Metal Knight has already sent out jet flames, and the huge mechanical body has already flew into the distance in the blink of an eye. And seeing the meteorite again, according to the falling speed and volume weight, Gino's superchip immediately calculated the final time. 33 seconds, it was the last time, and it was the time when he could act. However, his strongest attack needs to be charged, and the meteor is getting closer and closer to the ground. Will the energy cannon be affected after it is fired? But once the energy cannon can't cause damage to the meteorite, it will not only be a waste, but he will also be buried here. At this moment, countless thoughts appeared in my mind. Gino's body jumped with electricity, and the energy was somewhat uncontrollable. But right now, a vigorous voice appeared. Young man, your faith is beginning to shake. At the same time, a scarlet road connects the sky, passing over the heads of countless people, and the white Bugatti Veyron throttle roars. It was like a white thunder in the sky, suddenly quite dashing. Mu Bai also finally came to the upstairs far away from the incident site. Squinting slightly, the blonde Genos and Bangu are standing upstairs 50 meters away, and the meteorites are falling 500 meters away. The next 10 seconds, I don't know what Bangu and Genos talked about. Mu Bai felt it. Genos immediately adjusted his breath, and then tore off his clothes, revealing the silver-gray mechanical body inside. Open the front breastplate and take out the reactor as the core energy source. It seems that the hand parts have been upgraded, and it is a bit familiar. This Dr. Kusno has something. Mu Bai saw familiar energy connections. Obviously, he adopted his assembly concept, and it was implemented well. Under this kind of assembly, the energy transfer speed is at least 10 times faster than before. Touching his chin, Mu Bai showed an approving look. It can be seen that Genos has already fought at this time. Being able to take out core energy means that he intends to use all his strength. Because for a robot, the core energy represents his life. Once the core energy leaks or disappears, his life will come to an end. Unless there is new energy to join. Next second. Click. Insert the core energy into the arm. At this time, meteorite gathering ground, 300 meters. The distance of 300 meters is enough to feel the heat wave hitting the face, and the pressure brought by the meteorite is getting heavier and heavier. Click click countless real estate, the glass burst at this moment. What? Run. Help, I don't want to die yet. There were countless screams in the street immediately. Wow, the wind sounded beside Mu Bai. The bald-headed man in the yellow hero suit arrived, and he immediately noticed Genos on the roof of the building 50 meters away. Ah, what is he doing? Saitama touched his bald head. Some doubts about Genos' behavior. I'm going to try my best to try to stop the meteorite. But there is only one consequence of failure. Mu Bai leaned against the car body, arms around his chest. Looking up at the meteorite in the sky, it is such a large volume, and it has been condensed to a certain extent. The hardness of this level is not a stage at all, it can be broken by a small amount of vitality, and I am afraid that it cannot even stop the meteorite from landing. Oh, I got it. Saitama nodded lightly, but his eyes narrowed slightly. I was watching TV at home, but suddenly I found that something seemed to appear outside. It turned out to be a scarlet road. Feeling Saitama's gaze from the side, Bai looked helpless. I know from the anime before that this guy is a very boring anime maniac. He only buys discounted food when he buys groceries. He is a wretched and bad guy who likes to pick his nose and touch his butt when he has nothing to do. But I didn't expect to find out that this guy is also a funny guy after contacting. Having been in contact with Opportunity for a long time, Genos also has a hint of amusing. Saitama answered the question and continued. Tell me, do you feel good? While speaking, Saitama's eyes were full of anticipation. Especially intentionally or unintentionally rubbing the Bugatti Veyron next to it with the tip of the finger. For this car, he has been coveted for a long time. I saw Bai drive this car in the last hero test, and I checked it at home, and the acceleration from 100 kilometers is much stronger than that of Lamborghini. Well enough. Bai changed his posture. Anyway, there is no car blocking, and there are no traffic lights. Enjoy the clouds in the sky, unobstructed. This position makes it more comfortable to watch the fireworks show in front of you. Suck it. Saitama wiped his saliva and said, next time you will have a biao, remember to bring me. At this time, I can't wait for a pair of eyeballs to stick to the Bugatti Veyron. And at the same time, Genos, who was above the tall building in the distance, also completed the warm-up activities, and raised his left arm without hesitation in front of the meteorite in the air. Laugh. In the sound of the jet, the huge mechanical arm installed on the left arm split apart to reveal the more refined steel skeleton inside, and all the energy transfer devices were all assembled together. The blue channel forms a channel under the radiation of the steel. The exit of the passage is in Genos' palm, railgun. Bai's eyes narrowed slightly. Good guy, Dr. Kusnor can even figure this out. And to scale to such a degree, it is simply impossible to achieve without decades of research. Among the mechanic talents, although this is only in the small arms branch, the power is incomparable, the real giant railgun, or even the ion railgun later, or the Star Destroyer railgun. But the power is enough to be loaded on the battleship. But for Genos, he also ushered in the biggest problem at this time. That is energy. Even if it is a small railgun, if it wants to output in all directions, the energy it produces is the entire stock of its own reactor. When rebuilding Genos before, Bai did a detailed survey of a reactor of this strength. A railgun of this size can use up all the energy in one shot. Therefore, in Bai's eyes, Genos not only bet his dignity at this time, but even his life. Aside. Seeing Bai's sudden seriousness, Saitama also gritted his teeth slightly and took his eyes away from the Bugatti Veyron. Good guy. The apprentice is working hard in the distance. At this time, do some human affairs. The electronic eye calculates accurately. Meteorite gathering ground. 200 meters, Genos immediately roared. What? Half squatting, he inserted his right arm into the building to stabilize his figure. Whoosh whoosh, the energy railgun on the left arm was finally charged. Next moment. Boom. Countless surges of big blue energy spewed out and shot towards the sky. Blink. The countless clouds in the sky were scattered, and the energy of the railgun finally hit the surface of the meteorite. At the moment of contact, countless hot flames are instantly fired. Covered half of the sky. From below, it looks like a huge mushroom cloud blooming again. And the power of this blow, which was completely risking his life, completely surpassed the new weapon tested by the Metal Knight just now. Laugh. Genos gritted his teeth and increased his output. The energy in the body is like flowing water, all pouring into the orbit number on the left arm. At this moment, Genos only wished that this second was a little longer. Pity. Pop, the last trace of the arc flickered. A second later, all energy was normalized to zero, and Genos fell to the ground with a plop. Not to mention moving, even raising your head slightly is like mechanical friction, which is extremely difficult. Looking up, the meteorite fell to the ground after the smoke and dust dissipated. It appeared again. Failed. Genos' pupils narrowed. He couldn't say anything, but remembered what Mr. Bongu said just now. Just do your best, after all, this kind of thing is really not something he can stop. At this moment, the figures of Saitama and Bai appeared in his mind. If only teachers and seniors were here, and this seems to be the only two people he can trust. I don't know if it's an illusion. Next moment. A person wearing a yellow hero uniform with a flapping cloak behind him blocked him. Yo, Genos. It's pretty good. Looking at the solid back in front of him, Genos' eyes couldn't stop shaking. Teacher, at the same time. Over Z City, the meteorite is about to fall. All personnel please evacuate immediately. The Hero Association has arranged shelters in various places and is responsible for evacuating people. Please follow the order and do not cause casualties. Protecting yourself is the premise. In the news, the hostess was filled with righteous indignation. This time the judgment level is a Weilong level disaster. But natural disasters are ruthless, but human beings are affectionate. Please don't give up hope for life. Even so, the hostess still sighed in her heart. I don't know how many people's homes will be destroyed by this disaster, and this may be earned by how many people have worked hard for it all their lives. But in the face of the terrifying meteorite, there is no resistance at all. Reality does. City Z. On the street, the old, the weak, the sick, who could no longer escape, gathered into large and small crowds. Run. There is only one dead end to stay here. See? The meteorite is about to fall. Countless people on both sides of the road, carrying luggage and money, panicked and ran to the shelter. When they saw large and small crowds gathered on the road, they persuaded them one after another. But seeing these old, weak, sick and disabled people, they couldn't escape at all. They could only sigh and finally escaped here on their own. The speed was extremely fast, just to fight for a chance. The old man in tattered clothes sighed. I can't run anymore. Disasters have struck countless times. If I say I'm lucky to survive, I'm afraid I've lived many more years. However, reluctant to part, he touched the head of his grandson next to him. Such a young child is about to face a life and death crisis, and the old man pursed his lips, really unbearable. However, due to the low economic conditions, it can only linger in the peripheral cities. The child's parents work in other places just to support the family's income. And now I'm afraid the child's parents will never see the child again. Looking at the eyes of the old man, the weak people around them also bowed their heads and said nothing. Rumbling, trembling in the sky. The huge meteorite, the burning form visible to the naked eye, almost ignited the sky. At this time, it fell to the ground, and the speed did not slow down at all. Just now, maybe I heard everyone's helpless voices. Finally a hero appeared, and a powerful missile was launched at the meteorite. Just when everyone cheered, the smoke is gone. The trail of the meteorite appeared again, and the speed did not slow down at all. At this moment, everyone's hopes are dashed. Perhaps in the eyes of all those who cannot escape, the appearance of a hero is the final redemption. Hope in despair came so suddenly, that in the end, the helplessness cut off all hope in life. The most desperate thing is not being in despair. Instead, seeing hope, he was pushed into the abyss, unable to climb out. At this moment, everyone present felt this way. Everyone looked at each other. But more is to see the helplessness in each other's eyes. At this time, boom! Another huge cracked blue beam of light came out in time from the roof in the distance. Suddenly hit the falling meteorite. Laugh. In the countless smoke and dust, there was a violent reaction between the blue energy beam and the meteorite. Under the fiery red burst, it seemed like a mushroom cloud bloomed. At this moment, the hope that had been about to give up in everyone's heart reappeared. Although so weak, however, the blue energy is exhausted. Just block the meteorite for a moment. At this time, meteorite distance from the ground, 100 meters. There is no hope anymore. The huge meteorite shadow covered everyone's heads, shrouding the entire city in darkness, completely blocking the hope of all life. In this time of countdown to life, the old man held the young child tightly in his arms. The child's wide eyes are full of doubts. He may have no idea what the huge meteorite in the sky is. Woo. The woman with the cast on her leg hugged the man beside her and cried. In this apocalyptic scene, all he could get was the warm embrace of a man. But the sound of crying completely infected the atmosphere. Everyone around started sobbing softly, rumbling. Under this terrifying pressure, the earth trembled, and everyone could not stand up. Looking up, you can see the rubbed and smooth marks on the huge meteorite. The strong flame shone on everyone, and the cheeks hurt. Time frame. At this moment, above the tall buildings. The old gentleman over there takes care of Genos, leave the rest to me. Saitama stepped out. Right hand clenched slightly. Knees slightly bent. Lightly press your feet. In a blink. Boom. The thick roof was cracked and the cracks spread. Under this terrifying force, it was as if the comm mirror was smashed into slag. This, Bangu's pupils shrank slightly, only feeling his breath startled. This is the power of human beings. So far, among the S-class heroes of the Hero Association, I have never seen such a horror. If you really want to say, I am afraid there is only a tornado. The second terrifying tornado of S-class heroes. Teacher. Genos was shocked. That's the power of a teacher. When I think of the time when I fought against him, I am afraid that the teacher did not contribute at all at that time. In the sky. Wow wow wow. The wind whistled in his ears. The cloak fluttered in the wind behind him, and the figure of Saitama in the yellow hero suit was already flying high in the sky. He clenched his right fist and hit the meteorite in the air. I will protect this city. Saitama's face was icy cold. Next second, the fist collided with the meteorite. And on the street, in a desperate crowd. Look. What is that? Like a hero. Another hero to save us. No, I don't want to die. Maybe someone has always come to maintain the hope of our life. At this moment, they all encouraged each other and looked up at the sky one by one. Boom. A strong explosion resounded throughout the city. Many people squinted slightly, and the violent collision exploded on the surface of the meteorite. Click. The meteorite that neither of the two heroes could destroy actually cracked in the hands of the third hero, and then. Boom. Saitama's yellow figure flew into the sky and instantly penetrated the entire meteorite. Success. Wow, it finally succeeded. We don't have to die. Countless people cried with joy at this moment. Embracing their respective shoulders, they jumped up and down excitedly. But the next second, the old man exclaimed, "No, it's not over yet." Everyone heard the sound and looked up. Clap clap. The exploding meteorite suddenly shattered into countless pieces, and it was easily sent a huge shell, dragging a long tail flame, and attacked the ground. And right now, a scarlet color, the wrapped figure is like a god descending to earth. Suddenly, it flew into the sky. At this time, disaster scene detected. Do you sign in? The system beep came. Mew Bai nodded immediately. Sign in, waiting for this moment. His eyes flickered. That's exactly the purpose of this trip. At the same time, above the ground floor. What is that? Bang Ji was surprised again. Saitama's appearance was enough to shock him. At this time, another mysterious person flew into the sky, carrying countless meteorite fragments that hit the ground. Even if the bald head just now completely prevented the meteorite from falling, the power of countless meteorite fragments falling is enough to raise countless corners to the ground. This person, etc. Bang Ji suddenly thought. This is not exactly the recent fire on the internet, the use of magic heroes. And Genos, who was lying on the ground, also struggled to raise his neck. Senior. Whisper softly. A pair of pupils were filled with gratitude. After all, only people like teachers and seniors can resist such a natural disaster that wiped out the city. Make a fist. Genos was full of unwillingness. If he has enough strength, there is no need to trouble seniors and teachers. Check in. Dragon level disaster scene. Checking in. Sign in is complete. Sign in to reward. Contract card X1. System sign in is complete. Mew Bai recovered his mind. Look into the air. The meteorite disaster in front of me broke out again. Once it hit the ground, the consequences would be unimaginable. Not only can it cause the city in front of you to be riddled with holes, but it even takes a moment to raise everything in front of you to the ground. Even the catastrophic level that has been minimized. However, such a follow-up is enough to make Saitama be blamed by thousands of people. Thinking about the relationship with Saitama doesn't make things so bad. If that's the case, let me help you. Without hesitation, he stretched out his hands. Wow. Chaos magic suddenly erupted. The sky that was incomparably dark just now was wrapped in countless scarlet colors in the blink of an eye. From the ground, it looked like a huge scarlet eggshell, wrapped in the middle, and the target was the scattered meteorite. This. Countless people on the ground were dumbfounded and opened their mouths wide. Even Bongu above the tall building was slightly moved. Is this the power that human beings should have? At least so far, he has only seen this kind of power in one person. And that person wasn't here at the moment. Thinking of comparing this new hero with Tornado on the internet, Bongu actually had such an idea at this time. Could it be, this is another Tornado? Genos nodded slightly. Senior. Only teachers and seniors can be trusted. Above the sky. What? Flying into the sky, the braised egg suddenly reacted. He seems to have done something wrong. The next moment, the eyes are completely wrapped in scarlet color. Mew Bai in the distance. As if the god of war was alive, the whole body was wrapped in scarlet rays of light. The countless scarlet colors between the waves of both hands completely gathered the scattered meteorite fragments together again. How much pressure should such an irreversible process bear? Everyone present knew it. Mysterious hero shot. Looks like the heroes don't give up on us anytime. Get past this stage, and I will register your marriage with you tomorrow. Countless people have survived the catastrophe, but at this time they are more peaceful. The mentality is like a roller coaster. After another, there is only a full desire to survive in one by one at this time. This is the first time that Mu Bai has experienced a dragon-level disaster of this scale. Wave your hands. The outbreak of chaos magic is like countless threads entangled in the sky, gathering into a huge eggshell. It bears a huge force inside, pulling together countless meteorite fragments, forcibly pieced together, and cancelling the involvement of gravity. Only Mu Bai himself knows how much power this has to bear. However, chaos magic is also powerful, mouth slightly raised. All the meteorite fragments have been collected, and Mu Bai is no longer kept. Extend your right hand and clench it slightly in the air. Crunch. A sour voice spread through the air and reached everyone's ears in an instant. However, at this time, no one could care about this annoying and harsh feeling. Because in the eyes of everyone, the meteorite that was irretrievable just now was pinched together under the tremendous force of this scarlet color. A slight resistance is not in the way. Mu Bai clenched slightly again until he made a full fist. The huge meteor that was enough to cover the entire city just now has shrunk into a smooth iron ball less than 5 meters. The next moment, Mu Bai threw it on the ground. Boom! The massive mass made the ground sway. The ground couldn't bear the weight at all, and it was deeply depressed, forming a crater. The location. Of course I chose Saitama, around that no man's land. And meteorites are also a relatively expensive metal in this world. Anyway, enough for Saitama to make a fortune. On the ground. After a dead silence, everyone looked at each other, leaving only one with a sullen face. Under the severe temperature just now, everyone was roasted red, and in the process of giving up resistance in the end. After many twists and turns, countless heroes came to rescue. In the end, under the action of the mysterious hero, this disaster will be completely solved. Turn danger to safety. Everyone survives the catastrophe. Only the old man, with the child in his arms, asked in a tender voice, "Are we safe?" The sound woke everyone up. In the sky. Finish work. Pop, patting the dust on his palm, Bai flew to the roof of Geno's. At this time, Geno's has completely lost all energy, and only this half-dead appearance is left, supporting the last pride. Huh. Land firmly. In Bongu's shocked gaze. With a wave of his right hand, a red electric current lost into Geno's reactor. Next moment. The reactor that stopped working just now seems to be greatly stimulated. Rumbling. An even more terrifying coercion came from the reaction furnace. The metal mechanical body turned over, the internal mechanical buckle began to operate, and the mechanical gear resumed work at this moment. Call. Geno's abruptly sat up from the ground and began to take a deep breath of fresh air. At the moment when he lost his energy, he seemed to have seen death descend, and he could only helplessly watch the meteorite fall in front of him. Even can only quietly wait for the truth of death. At this moment, he ushered in a new life, grateful. Having assembled the response, Geno's bowed deeply. However, Mu Bai looked directly to his side and patted his shoulder lightly. Young man, you still need to get stronger, Joe. Then, at Bangu's puzzled gaze, Mu Bai put away the scarlet color around him. Showing a handsome face, he raised his hand and said, "Old man, stay safe." Bangu blushed. This is kind of embarrassing. After all, I wanted to use Liu Sui's shattering fist at the most critical time, but I didn't expect the young man in front of him to be so powerful. I thought it was just an A-level hero. I didn't expect you to be the mysterious hero that has been rumored these days. Bangu was stunned. So young. Looking at Mu Bai up and down, the flat suit, clean shirt, the whole body is restrained, and there is no strong aura emanating. His eyes are tiny. That's right. Mu Bai has a terrifying and powerful aura. Perhaps it was the absolute perception from the top dancers, or the perfect control of martial arts. After a glance, Bang Ji-yu withdrew his gaze. Absolutely can't go wrong. At the same time, Wow Lala the wind roared beside him, and the kung fu slid away. Saitama, wearing a yellow hero costume, has come. Seeing the arrival of Mu Bai, Saitama immediately exclaimed. Fortunately, I have you. I almost blew up the city just now. Gently patted his chest. Now that I think about it, I'm terrified for a while. After the impact of the most powerful forces of the two sides, I didn't expect the burst of force to be so huge. instantly smashed meteorites into explosions. Opposite, Bangu also looked at Saitama. As this person's body living with a god? He was also slightly surprised. Maybe I swiped the hero report about Saitama by accident, but I didn't expect this meeting to be in such a situation. Amazing. Don't be careless next time. I can't guarantee that I'll be there every time. Mubai's tone was serious. Saitama immediately nodded like a chicken eating rice. Teacher. Genos also stood up. The energy has resumed operation, but when he stood up, he was a young steel boy with radiant energy. Nice job. I accept your apprentice. Saitama finally smiled. After going through this incident, he realized that the young man in front of him also had dreams and courage. He scratched his head gently, although he was a bit deceitful because of the things he taught before, but after this time, be sure to teach this guy well. Sunset. All the haze finally disappeared under the joint efforts of everyone. The bustling crowd on the street immediately rushed to their home amid cheers. This moment. There are countless people in the dark at the same time relieved. City. Saved. The sun pulled everyone's shadows far away. Bang Ji-yu looked at the three figures, his wrinkled old face moved. Immediately said, since the three saved the city, please go to my dojo. I want the three to taste my treasured tiguanyin. Good. Genos nodded immediately. Looking at Saitama and Mubai, both nodded lightly. Genos' face immediately showed a smile. This is the taste of a partner. Although one is a teacher and the other is a senior. Maybe this is what Dr. Kuznau said about fate. At the same time, a report from City Z came. This dragon-level disaster has been lifted. Through the unremitting efforts of Hero Association heroes, everyone can go home safely. There will be no more danger. However, there may also be monster attacks, so please don't let your guard down. The announcement of the Hero Association spread all over the city. For a time, under the dim sunset, countless figures who were hiding appeared tremblingly and looked at them. There were already countless figures on the peaceful streets, and they watched the sunset. Watch the clouds in the sky disperse. Finally, I couldn't hold back any longer and wept with joy. When the war correspondent arrived, he took out his microphone. Because of this incident, all personnel were completely evacuated, and the only thing that can be recorded is the monitoring of the presence of people. We will seize the time to restore the content under monitoring and report this heroic event as soon as possible. I also ask the general public to trust the Hero Association 100%. We are heroes and are responsible for the safety of everyone's lives. At the most critical moment, come forward, and right now. 4 figures have come to the so-called Bangu dojo. Geno's mouth was wide open and he was speechless. It turned out that the dojo in Banguko was in the deep mountain in front of him, and the cliffs looked smooth. It seems that after countless polishing, a whole mountain has been cut off everywhere. There is a small temple on the top of the mountain, which looks like a small view of the mountains. However, this is not the point. The point is that there are steps that often seem to go straight to the sky before the 4 of them. Young people, as the saying goes, you are not a hero if you don't go to the Great Wall. Who wants to try it today? Go to the dojo, and be a good man. The same Bang Ji-yu touches his beard. Without hesitation, he took the lead to step on the steps. The first step and the first step were very stable, his feet were even and steady, and the back of his hands looked like a little old man. However, the figure is vigorous but powerful, and in just a few seconds, it has reached the 10th order. Although it was a little troublesome, Mu Bai smiled. Ridiculous. Is the power of the dragon elephant just for fun? Of course not. Therefore, Mu Bai also followed Bangu without hesitation. Saitama looked at Mu Bai's back, and just as he was about to step forward, he felt Genos beside him, and his energy was unstable. Pop. Genos patted Genos on the shoulder lightly. Saitama coughed. Take this as your first training as an apprentice. I'll be full of energy today. Done. Ah. Wait for me. With a loud roar, he rushed forward 5 steps in an instant. Genos was slightly taken aback. Teacher. But, well. Since this is the teacher's teaching course, it must be completed carefully. Everything happened in the outside world, and the 4 of them knew nothing about it. Mu Bai doesn't care either. On the other hand, Bangu, who was in front of him, suddenly accelerated up the steps. How can I still see the old man's appearance? His steps are extremely fast, and in the blink of an eye, hundreds of steps have opened up, and even if one is not careful, he has already lost a trace. Test? With the test, Mu Bai immediately became interested. Mouth slightly raised. Move your legs lightly. Next moment, the figure suddenly disappeared in place, and the speed was extremely fast. This made Saitama, who had just arrived, a little embarrassed, but Wei Ka. Under his foot, the steps under his feet cracked instantly, apparently also in pursuit of speed and no longer suppressing strength. However, Mu Bai is different. In less than 2 seconds, Bangu's figure appeared in front of him. The breath of the whole body is not disturbed in the slightest, and the power in the body is completely mobilized with each breath. Just like practicing martial arts, use Chao Jin all the time. Maybe Bangu's power is not felt in the comics. But now in reality, Mu Bai was still slightly surprised. Is this old man really not easy? But he is not weak either. Wow. Taking another step out, Mu Bai also tried to change his breath. At this time, discover Bangu Dojo, do you sign in? The system beep suddenly sounded. Mu Bai was slightly startled. Haven't you already signed? However, after a slight stagnation, Bangu's figure disappeared again. Yes. Answer quickly. Before he finished speaking, Mu Bai gritted his teeth, and his figure ejected again. However, this time, Niu Cha, where it hit the ground cracked instantly. Mu Bai was shocked. The strength is out of control. But Bangu was getting faster and faster, going up the steps, like a race. In this race, Bangu has already used the speed and strength that almost surpasses that of human beings, if there is no fusion of the power of the god of destruction. I'm afraid, Mu Bai won't be able to catch up to Bangu at all. Only chaos magic can be used, an introduction. And now the control of power is becoming more and more difficult. A system beep appears. Check in location, Bangu Dojo. Checking in. Sign in done. Sign in reward. Breath of the sun. The system beep goes down. Mu Bai's figure stopped abruptly. What is this? FCK mouth. Breath of the sun. This is the most powerful breathing technique in the anime, Blade of Ghost Slayer. The core super ability that runs through the entire Ghost Slayer blade. Without this ability, the ghost killing team would not be able to compete with the Ghost Dance, let alone kill the Ghost King in the end. And now, the sign-in has come out. How could Mu Bai not be excited about this ability? However, think about. It seems that he just thought of changing his breathing method. There is material, are you fused? The system prompt should come again. Mu Bai looked up and saw the figure of the old man Bang Ji. However, this cannot be delayed. After all, after integrating a trace of the power of the god of destruction, his current physique is already strong to a certain extent. Whether it is the fusion of the power of the dragon and the elephant, or the fusion of the machine god talent, it can be completed in a very short time. That being the case, then see how strong you are. Mu Bai's eyes flickered, and he nodded immediately. Fusion. Next second. Wow! Countless scarlet colors instantly wrapped Mu Bai, and then fiery red lines appeared inside the scarlet color. Wow! Mu Bai's body floated uncontrollably, his limbs stretched out and he lay flat on his back. Next moment. The fiery red lines seemed to come alive, constantly wandering in the chaotic magic, breaking through the bondage at the next moment. Roar! A gigantic flame dragon head jumped, and its long tentacles were able to handle it with ease, making it extremely vivid within the chaotic magic. Walk around Mu Bai while jumping the room. The next second, the huge flame dragon head looked down at Bai. For eye contact. Mu Bai felt the heat in an instant, but the flame dragon in front of him did not have any hostility. After swimming, the next moment got into Mu Bai's chest. Intense red flames burned within the body like flames. Ordinary, Mu Bai's heart couldn't help beating wildly. However, subsequently, this crimson flame energy slowly dissipated and merged into Mu Bai's limbs. What? A refreshing feeling arose from the bottom of my heart, and Mu Bai was no longer suppressed. And with the fusion of this red flame energy, Mu Bai finally felt what is called the strongest breathing method. Breath of the day. Whoosh whoosh. Chaos magic entered the body, and the scarlet color that filled the surroundings disappeared. Models suddenly appeared on Mu Bai's forehead, but they disappeared in a flash. Gently raising his head, Mu Bai's eyes immediately saw a trace of scarlet flames, and he looked unusual. Call. Between the light breaths, there seemed to be flames jumping. Every breath is like a fire dragon possessed. Looking at his whole body, Mu Bai couldn't help nodding lightly. Gaba, Wei clenched his fist and gave back more powerful power. The breath of the sun not only strengthens the physique, but also completely coexists with the power of the god of destruction. The two complement each other, and completely make up for the lack of chaotic magic in terms of physique. Taking the power of the god of destruction as the benchmark and the breath of the sun as the frame, the two coexist and become stronger in Mu Bai's body as if playing with a dragon. With the change of breathing method, Mu Bai finally understands what it is to control the power. If the control of the power of the god of destruction was compulsory at first, then the control of the power in the body at this moment is completely active and becomes a habit. Looking up at the steps in front of him, Mu Bai's eyes were full of dissatisfaction. Silver Fang, who can become the third S-class hero, is obviously not an ordinary existence. Moreover, to be able to continuously surpass and become stronger with human physique, to reach such a terrifying cultivation base that far exceeds that of human beings, Silver Fangs are enough to be called this title. And now, take him to the entrance again. In Mu Bai's heart, at this moment, he is full of the desire to challenge. Leaving aside the check in function of the system, Mu Bai did not hesitate. Step out. As if the figure teleported, it appeared again, and it was already 10 meters away. The strength was used to the extreme, but the ground under the feet was as usual. Compared with the previous strength and speed, it has increased several times, but the control of strength has formed a habit. Between a breath and a breath, the use of tricks and volatilization, and even whether to exert power, are all controlled by the body. The habit of going deep into the bone marrow is like sending charcoal in the snow. And this is probably the root of the most powerful breathing technique in the Blade of Ghostslayer. The breath of the sun carries the heat of the sun. The strongest way to breathe. Mu Bai finally had a deep understanding. And this, also has to admire the knowledge and definition of these breathing methods by the author of Ghostslayer comics. And now, it has become a big help. Thinking in the distance, now Bang Ji-yu is probably already there. Mu Bai didn't stop there, and rushed out in an instant. Behind. Hey, it's so annoying. Saitama looked behind him in distress, and the ground continued to crumble. No matter how careful the control force is, it keeps crumbling. Saitama was always saddened that he did not expect to cause such damage to others. It's better not to chase those two guys. Walking slowly is also a kind of enjoyment. With hundreds of steps, Saitama touched his bald head. This old man didn't touch the porcelain on purpose, right? And this step will not age. With some suspicious eyes, Saitama realized that he might be a smart bunch at this time. Behind you. After climbing thousands of steps, Genos clenched his fist slightly. Even if it is a mechanical body, the nerves have been honed to the extreme. Addicted to. Open the blue flame behind and fly towards the top. However, Saitama's words came to his mind. Hey. Sigh slightly and continue. As for the situation of the two people, Mu Bai is not clear. Bongu is even less clear. The reason why he deliberately instigated Mu Bai was to find out whether this guy's aura of a strong man was real or not. After all, there is an ancient legend in the martial arts world. Gather the dojo, and there are hundreds of stairs. Figure stagnates. Cough cough. Bang Ji-yu coughed. I have to take it, it's really old. Thinking back to when I was young, in this small dojo, I didn't go up when I wanted to go up and down when I wanted to. And now. When I got home, I couldn't help coughing. If I really wanted to achieve 100% control over my strength, it was very exhausting for my body and internal organs. And, the wounds left by these long-lasting battles. More and more serious, looking at the sky, Bang Ji-yu can't help but sigh. In a few more years, I am afraid that the S-rank position will not be preserved. Thinking of this, the figure of another apprentice appeared in his mind. What a pity. A pity. At this time. Wow. An incomparably swift figure seemed to be filled with the color of 377 flames. Scarlet flames permeated the whole body and looked extremely attractive. Bang Ji-yu was slightly taken aback. The control of Qi made him realize that Mu Bai in front of him seemed to be reborn. If it was just a beautiful jade just now, at this time, it seems that it has undergone a lot of hard work and has undergone a whole body transformation. Bang Ji-yu squinted slightly. Take a closer look. Mu Bai's breath and breath are incomparably coordinated, and his body control is almost perfect. Look at the feet again. The speed is so fast that it is almost at a standstill with him, and the sudden explosion is also the same. However, there was no sign of cracking on the blue brick steps below. If he hadn't controlled his physique to a perfect level, how could he have achieved such a strong transformation? Mu Bai was also slightly taken aback. I didn't expect to see Bang Ji-yu when I turned the corner. Sir. In the last breath of the sun, when the figure disappeared on the spot, It had appeared beside Bang Ji-yu, like a phantom, while half circling his body while jumping high. Huh. He landed under extreme control, took a deep breath, and slowly exhaled. Even on the forehead, there was no sweat at all. Hello. Young man. Bongu laughed immediately. But there is a look in the eyes. The aura of a strong man that appeared on Mu Bai's body was inexplicable at this time, and it was impossible to see the depth. With his current strength, it is impossible to see what level he has reached. However, the young man's attitude was really calm. Have great talent. Mu Bai also looked at the stairs behind him. Looking down from here, the uncle on the ground is only the size of an ant. And the stairs that the two people rushed to have already reached more than tens of thousands, and the small mountain actually crouched and hidden the dragon. Under such a rotation, even ordinary people climbed once a day. If I don't die from exhaustion, I'm afraid I'll get stronger. Bang Ji-yu also looked down the mountain with his hands behind his back. Rolling stairs. There are no protective devices on both sides of the cliff next to it. If you are not careful, you will be smashed to pieces. Practice martial arts all the way. Don't know the depths, master it, keep improving. Hearing the wind whistling beside his ears, it was as if he could pick up the stars. In this towering realm, Mu Bai's mood suddenly brightened. Bang Gu's voice is heard beside my ears. It actually gave Mu Bai a feeling of being stunned. While savoring it carefully, Bang Ji-yu has turned his head and walked towards the dojo in the distance. Mu Bai smiled wryly. Maybe this is the martial artist, say a sentence and leave a half sentence, as if nothing is said. But when a martial artist really understands it, he will understand that this is the most sincere and pure teaching. In the powerful perception of chaos magic, Saitama has come to the middle of the mountain. Not breathing or sleepy, but the speed is unusually slow. An impatient look on his face. After that, Genos also gritted his teeth and climbed up step by step. With a sigh of relief, Mu Bai has arrived at the dojo. The scene looked a little worn out, with blue bricks and white tiles, and moss on the stone steps, looking a little old. The buildings in ancient costumes are somewhat oriental. No matter how carefully you think about Bang Ji-yu, who is a martial arts master, you can understand it thoroughly. The plaque at the top of the main entrance of the dojo has the main inscription. Flowing water rock shattering fist. The 5 characters are vigorous and powerful, and the shape seems to be in seal script. Mu Bai touched his chin and nodded lightly. If you taste it carefully, there is actually a sharp-edged atmosphere. Okay. Young people, don't look any further, come in and have tea. Came to the factory, Bang Gu's voice. I'm coming. Mu Bai answered casually. In his mind, he was still thinking about the seal script just now. If he followed his notes, it will definitely be written as a king bastard painting a turtle. Coming to the inside of the dojo, Bang Ji-yu sat on the right side of the table of 8 immortals in front of him, holding a teacup in his hand and blowing gently. And the whole place is huge, and the ground is covered with hard cotton pads. Many places have opened lines, revealing unknown objects inside. A variety of weapons were placed around the scene, including wooden spears and short sticks, as well as many metal products. They looked extremely sharp and had already been edged. The young man with long yellow hair, holding a teapot, carefully added tea to Bongu's teacup. Cough. I made you laugh. Bang Ji-yu smiled lightly. This is my apprentice, Kalanke, who has always lived in my dojo. The kung fu has not improved, but he has made a good tea. Chironk Pinpin immediately pointed at his nose. I am the teacher's big disciple. Mu Bai didn't care either. In fact, he had already recognized at a glance who the man in front of him was. After all, in Saitama's story, there was a very exciting moment where he taught martial arts. There are countless battles, and countless masters almost solve the battle with one punch. And the replacement identity is the current Kalanke. He lifted the teacup gently. The tea was warm enough, and Mu Bai was not polite. Take a small sip. Although this kid is a bit arrogant, the tea is really good. Having said that, the boy in front of him is truly righteous, and after the bad wolf incident, he is the only one who can stay in the dojo, even though his martial arts skills are indeed not high. After drinking a cup of tea, Mu Bai nodded his head. Good tea. One drink after another. But Mu Bai didn't pay attention. The opposite Bang Ji-yu was already blocking the mouth of the teacup. Kalanke is also very smart and does not talk too much. Just keep adding tea to Mu Bai. He didn't realize that Bang Gu's face was calm from the very beginning. Too gradually shocked, however, this moment. He could finally confirm what level Mu Bai's martial artist aura was. It wasn't until the 5th cup that Mu Bai put down the teacup. Feeling full of satiety, but right now. Ah, I'm here too. Saitama's roar came from outside the door, and he came over angrily. Kalanke was taken aback. Then it's time to clean up this rude person. Bang Ji-yu reached out to stop him. Master. Kalanke gritted his teeth slightly, somewhat angry. Bang Ji-yu frowned slightly. Huh. With this sound, Kalanke was able to stop. Just saw. Saitama pushed the door and walked in. However, he was slightly taken aback. Shaved. Saitama was also stunned. Who is this guy in front of him? His hair is so lush. However, he immediately looked at Bai. Seemingly finding a reason to relieve the embarrassment, he immediately greeted Saitama. Oh, you were running so fast. What is it like to destroy other people's steps? While speaking, he couldn't help but leaned close to Mu Bai's ear, with a cautious look on his face. I seriously suspect that this old man is here to trick us, and he will make you lose money, so don't worry about it. Mu Bai was slightly taken aback. What a point. However, seeing Saitama's suspicious expression, Mu Bai nodded slightly. But the helper opposite Nai, he is a great master of martial arts, so it is of course easy to catch this little rumor. Looking at Bangu's face ashen, Mu Bai burst into laughter. This guy Saitama is really interesting. However, Saitama soon found something good and took up his teacup. Tea. Although it tastes bitter and astringent, it's good for free. Eat a cup. At this time, Kalink was like a statue, perfectly ignored by Saitama, and the most crucial point was that the other party was bald. He touched his sparse hair before giving up. Anyway, compared to the polite Mu Bai, this bald head has no good impression in his mind. In front of the tea table. Oops, you don't know that your steps may have fallen into disrepair. Saitama immediately chatted after 2 cups of tea. His tone was serious, and he didn't look at Bang Ji-yu. After all, she is like a group of witty possessors at this time. In the comics written by Mu Bai, this can be called throwing a brick and attracting jade, playing hard to escape. And you must be preconceived. What if you will lose money if you wait? This is not to say, but when it comes to speaking, Bangu's complexion is even more livid. It's okay. He clenched his fists and drank a cup of tea. Mastering the ultimate strength, he also squeezed the teacup to crunch. The small details, Mu Bai looked at, and almost died of laughter in his heart. Call. Bang Ji-yu also quickly took 2 deep breaths, pressing the violence into his body, or he was afraid that one could not help but beat the bald head opposite. Thinking about it, I can't beat it. Slowly exhaling, he then looked at Mu Bai. I didn't ask the hero's name to Boo. White. Mu Bai continued. Mr. Bangu, don't be so polite. Not long ago, I also accompanied Saitama in the hero test, and I am currently ranked 7th in the S-class, but due to some personal reasons, I cannot reveal my identity at the moment. Yes. Bang Ji-yu nodded lightly, his eyes calm. For many personal reasons, there are also Metal Knights who cannot reveal their identities. However, in terms of past friendship, Bangu knew some information about Metal Knights. On the published Hero Association information, you can also choose not to publish the image. And now, Bang Ji-yu pondered a little in his heart. The Mu Bai in front of me, if it really exists in that kind of talk. Must find out. And he raised his head and looked at the dojo in front of him. Since the evil wolf incident, the dojo in front of him has gradually declined, day by day. The place was extremely dilapidated, and only one disciple, Kalink, remained. But thinking of this, he also shook his head slightly. No matter how hard Kalink works, he has no talent, and he will not be able to learn the basic techniques of Liusui and Shattering Fist after 2 or 3 years of practice. Moreover, he is already very old, and once he reaches the age of twilight, there will be no inheritance of the Liusui and Shattering Fist. Russell, Bang Ji-yu rubbed his fingers, and Bang Ji-yu was unable to speak for a while. At this time, so boring, Saitama came in with a piece of grass in his mouth. There is nothing on the entire mountain, only a solitary dojo. Although there are some equipment on the martial arts field, it has been in disrepair for a long time. The only interesting thing is the old locust tree hanging in the air next to the dojo. Also, Gino's sounds like an ant. Coming here is more boring than coming home. Then, let's play Gwent. There was a sudden smile on Bangu's face. And outside the door. Call one. Gino's gasping voice came, and he finally caught up with the dojo. Exactly. 4 people. Bangu looked at Mu Bai. Okay, There was no reason to refuse, and Mu Bai readily agreed. There is also this scene in the original comics, but I don't know what Bongu's idea was at this time. At the same time, outside world, it's been 2 full hours since that disaster passed. We've managed to get specific surveillance footage of the outbreak. After a small treatment, we can fully restore the incident and dedicate it to the general public. The Hero Association is already doing temporary processing. The war correspondent held the microphone, and all the teams beside him were rushing around. Each forehead was covered in fine sweat. When the disaster struck, everyone fell into despair, including the war correspondents. After all, such a terrifying disaster has long been beyond the influence of manpower. In the end, we can only hope for a miracle, and in the most desperate moments. The miracle has finally come. How can this not make the whole people boiling excited? It wasn't just the city that was shocked. It is countless lives, countless hopes to live. Online. It's another meteorite landing event. Follow up. There are rumors of seeing a hero break a meteor by himself. And also saw the legendary Magic Knight. Magic Knight. This seems to be the mysterious hero who uses magic. There are rumors that the mysterious hero has joined the Hero Association and ranks as an S-class hero. At the same time, there was an uproar on the internet. Netizens have followed suit, and in the process of restoring the network and power, everyone actively participates in technology. After all, in this apocalyptic world, destruction may be ushered in the next second at any time. But the hero is the solid backing of everyone. Tornado Villa. Cough cough cough. The iron pan burst again, thick smoke billowed, and the dragon roll was eaten up. But he didn't care either. With a big wave of his hand, the iron pot in front of him had turned into an iron ball, and he threw it into the trash can next to him. Thinking that my sister will come back for dinner in 2 days, and her cooking skills are still so rubbish. If only Mo Bai was here. Sighing slightly, Mu Bai's figure appeared in Tornado's mind. In the kitchen, Mu Bai wholeheartedly guides her to cook and how to adjust the dishes. So attentive, it's like a different person from before. Maybe this is the so-called sudden enlightenment. Tornado nodded to himself. A long green hair jumped with it. But what is he doing now? After hesitating for a while, Tornado immediately took out his mobile phone and opened the homepage of Ghost Slayer manga, and opened the author status. But the display is not online. Should not be all. What are you doing? Tornado was slightly taken aback. The expectation of Mu Bai made her a little curious. At this time, ding dong. A hot news on the internet appeared.